Great, thank you. I see 6:01, so if everybody would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Let's see, that brings us to roll call. Ms. Boubian is not here, and I'm going off memory. I want to say she sent me a note, so we're going to mark her as an excused absence. Ms. Messier?
Yes.
Ms. Quinn?
Here.
Mr. Rhodes?
Present.
Ms. O'Donnell?
Here.
Ms. McHugh?
Here.
Mr. Cresswell? Here. Mr. Dillon?
Here.
Ms. Marchioni?
Here.
Mr. Whitmire?
Yep.
Whitmore? Meyer, Moore, freshman? Moore, Whitmore. That's easy. I'm from Suncook and get lots of them. And Verville, I am here. We will start with public comments. I have a feeling he is not here for public comments. I have a feeling he is here for IT, if I was to put on my amazing Karnak hat. Right, Ray's also waiting in the wings for his turn to have fun with us. So nothing there. We need to approve the meeting minutes of October 14th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on those meeting minutes?
Mr. Chair, the only thing I noticed was under approval of minutes, it says none, and we did approve the 9/23 minutes. And then we questioned the July 22nd minutes that we still have to approve. It looks like they did come back as a draft, so I think they've been corrected. But we have approved the 9/23 minutes for last meeting.
Have we, is everybody, so it's the 22nd July that's in question, right? Does anybody else recall getting a draft? I have to admit, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's posted, actually.
It was posted late last meeting for the July 22nd, and it looks like it's been updated.
Okay, so,
Correct.
so I would like to, I'd like to leave that for the next meeting so all the members can have a chance. Please go on the town website, Municipal Budget Committee, review the 22 July 2025 meeting minutes. And then the current meeting minutes should be updated to show a set being approved. Is there any other? Yes, Mr. Cresswell?
So I did get the minutes for last meeting and noticed that I was marked as not present, but I did request an excused absence for a medical issue.
Yeah, okay, so if the meeting minutes could be updated to also show Mr. Cresswell is an excused absence. Does it show me as excused? Because I wasn't.
It doesn't
It
distinguish.
says you, Bonnie, myself, and Tom out absent.
So those were all excused. Mr. Dillon reached out to me, Ms. Boubian reached out to me. So those meeting minutes need to be, show the excused absences. So in case you don't know, the only reason it's important is it is in budgetary law. If a member of a budget committee has 4 unexcused absences in a row, they immediately cease to be a member of the committee. They're gone, and then the vacancy gets filled by appointment. It has always been the past practice of this committee that if either the chair, the vice chair, or even another member is notified basically up till, the time of the meeting start to say, hey, I can't make it for whatever reason, we've always granted excused absences, and I don't see any value or reason to deviate from that. So if somebody wants to challenge that, it would just be, the motion would be to challenge the ruling of the chair, and then there could be a discussion and a vote if somebody wanted to deal with it thusly. So those two changes to the 14 October 2025 meeting minutes, we'll hold off on the 22 July. Is there any further discussion on the last meeting's minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? And so that is 10-0-0.
Any abstain, please, because I wasn't here.
Yeah, my apologies. All those in favor All those opposed? Any abstentions? I will also abstain. So that's 3. So that's a 7-0, 703. Thank you, Josh. Good catch. Because there's 10 of us. So I think number 5 on our agenda is sort of my error in copy paste, and it shows up on all the agendas. The chair of the school board did reach out to me and say, we're not really prepared to discuss this on a weekly basis. They only get the report once a month, and this line item is really only on the agenda for the first time this year because we met through the summer to review the ongoing process. And now that we're in budgetary season, I'll probably repost these notices to pull that off. Maybe have one more after they get their next note. We'll see when we pick up the school budget. And then if somebody wants to bring up questions to the school board about stuff that's encompassed there, they could bring it up under new or old business, I would suppose. Maureen, did you have a question?
Yeah, well, I just had a comment about this particular agenda item. To me, it reads as if we're receiving their budget, and if we could change that to expenditures?
Expenditure and revenue.
Expenditure report. Yeah.
Well, they're both updates, revenue and expenditure updates. I
Yes.
think would reflect more what we're actually doing.
I agree. That grammatically, that makes more, because this reads incredibly
Because
awkwardly.
down below, you've got receive the
Yeah.
Deerfield municipal budget, and that's the budget review, so.
Yeah, I agree. I will, well, it's coming off. And it'll end up, if somebody got questions in that space, we'll do it either under old or new business. I don't care where it comes up. In some brief colloquial discussions before the meeting started, it was brought to my attention that last week, 5 budgets were reviewed. One was changed, and it's not clear if any of them were actually approved. So under old business, I'd like to run through those 5 just to get them buttoned up. If there's no objection to doing that. Further, we're going to change the order of operations tonight. The town administrator was kind enough to let me know we've got 2 gentlemen representing various departments, and then the town administrator has the rest of the items. So we're going to take their items up first so that they can get out of here and go home and have supper, or whatever they choose to do, unless there's objection. So when I read out a page number, it is going to be the bottom right-hand page number in your packet. Historically, we've done it by the budget page. It's laid out a little bit differently this year. So when I read a page number, like right now, we're going to go to page 21. And so that's the bottom right-hand number for the, but why doesn't that bring me to IT? 21, because I read the wrong number, that's why. Now, where's IT?
It's 21.
Am I dizzy? Yes, sorry, I don't know. I was looking at something wrong. Anyway, so here we are, page 21, IT.
So I'll motion that we move the IT budget for the total of $109,104.
The only challenge I have with that is that does not match the proposed budget.
Is it the one at the bottom?
Yes.
Circle, sorry.
103616.
Okay, then I motion that we move, oh, okay, I was looking at the bottom. Sorry. I motion that we move the IT budget for a total of $103,616.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Yeah, so actually, you're new with us. It's the top page, the pages that look like the top page, and then there's a page number upper right. That is the budget. The other pages that don't conform to that are what's considered backup or informational stuff to support the budget. So the budget's been moved and seconded. Mr. Whitmore, you have the floor if you'd like to introduce that budget. If you'd like to defer it to someone else.
Defer to Karen. Or actually, were you gonna run through it?
Yeah, I can do that.
If you could just introduce yourself, Steve.
I'm Steve Gemelli, IT Director here.
Thank you, Steve.
And so it hasn't It's a lot more than last year, but it hasn't changed a lot as far as, except for a few items. As you'll see, that it would drop down from 109 to the 103 due to taking off the Harris Muni Smart modules. They're part of the line item, the vendor maintenance and support, because for some reason they were in my budget all these years, but the select board agreed that they should be taken out. And also for the printing service, IT printing service, that was also removed because I don't do any of that. I don't do the printing, I don't do the postage or anything, and it didn't seem to fit into the budget. So that dropped it down to the 103 from the 109. Now, the bulk of next year is additions are replacement computers and the police server down under IT equipment. So that breaks down, police server, just an estimate, because prices change all the time. That's 9,000, that's for the server, for all the Microsoft software, and for the migration software, which is kind of involved for this kind of thing, to push that over. Computers, well, they should be replaced. They should be replaced now because of the Windows 10 going away, but we can get by. I'm looking into options for 1-year extension on updates. But the updates, I don't believe they're that important as long as people are careful, and they've been very good in this. They've well-trained, I think, the users here.
Security updates or?
They're security updates, yes. Yep. But we will have to replace them by next year because, number one, they're very old. We've kept them running for a long time. The bulk of them are from 2017. And
So 8 years, bulk or 8 years old?
on average, some we've replaced through attrition, doing one today for Glenda. But other than that, so that's one less that would have to be replaced next year. And those are the main changes, big changes in the budget.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Quinn, please.
Steve, hi, I have a question
If you
about,
could make sure you're in the microphone, just for
sorry,
transcriptionists and people.
on the contract line.
Yes.
So it looks like year-to-date, we've spent 9,000 something, and the proposed is 5. And I was just curious about that discrepancy, and was it like a one-time?
Let's see, that's contract. $7,000 versus the 9. I'm not sure. I don't have that, all the breakdown of what was actually spent this year on that information, on that.
Mr. Rhodes, please.
So,
Don't.
Steve, are contract and vendor maintenance related at all?
And no,
1,000 and the 7,000, are those in any way related?
not really, no.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah. Yeah. Subscriptions is mostly vendor maintenance and support. And for our Breeze line, IP addresses, the static ones we have, whereas the other is an actual contractual for those services, the Unitrends and the Sonic Wall.
So, to go back to Ms. Quinn's question, but not really to address the question. So, because I don't think we have a clear answer to your question. So do you want to, if you want to defer, we could certainly table this budget till next week and get further information, or we could proceed. It's whatever the will of the committee is.
My concern was that it's being under budgeted. So if it's not jumping out at Steve as to exactly why it's so much, I just wanted to be sure that the 5,043 was going to be sufficient, but
I'm trying to recall whether.
Steve, you
what
have
there
here
was.
for
It might have
IT
been
contract,
more.
you have the Sonic Wall firewall support and updates and the Unitrends local and cloud backup.
right. Would one of those have had like some big,
I'd have to go back and look. I'm trying to recall what we did this past year.
because it's even, the proposed number is even less than the actual for 2024. So I'm just concerned that,
Yeah, sure. No, I understand,
Oh.
yeah.
I'm following,
Well, let's see, the contract, well, let's see, no, the proposed for 2024 was 5735, but for 2026 is 7,031.
No,
Or what am I missing something here?
Proposed was $589.
yes, there are. Yeah, this top
Because
budget
we
and the
pulled-
bottom one don't match.
well, that's because we pulled out the, so under the Harris Muni Smart, we pulled out the 1165, the 823.
But those were under maintenance and,
Right.
vendor maintenance and support,
And then
not
the printing
contract.
costs came out. Contract is 504.
Yeah, they don't match.
I think they got deducted from the wrong. And all that aside, it
I think
still
I did,
doesn't
so
explain
so IT contract, I did 7031, which was the IT contract line, and then I deducted out the Muni Smart costs from there, and that's where I got the 5043.
But the Muni Smart was under vendor
So I,
maintenance and support.
We go from
I'm also curious, I mean, if I look at the vendor maintenance support line across, it, budget of 4264 in '24, you got an 8,700 spend. And then budget of 4264 and a 1,300 spend. It fluctuates sort of pretty broadly, and then you're going up to 7,800 proposed for this year. So there's a lot of apparent fluctuation, but I'm sure there's an explanation for that.
It's not 7,800. That's
I just don't understand what,
that's the line below.
is it,
I'd have to go back. and look at
asynchronous
other sheets
contracts
from
coming up and
other
stuff like
years.
that? Yeah.
So it would be my preference that perhaps we table IT and then come back to it next week or the week after, and allow the municipality to sort of double check the facts and figures and make sure that everything aligns. Is there anybody who'd like to make that motion?
I
Make a
would so,
motion, we table the IT budget until clarification on the discrepancies.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on tabling? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I've got it,
Any, I'm sorry?
I've got it. I just have the, I made a deduction in the wrong line on the top portion. I can run through them on the bottom if you'd like.
How about if, can you give us a clean copy that's corrected for next week? And then we'll take it up then. That way we'll have a clean copy and not have to take too many notes. There was a lot of ayes. 1 second, there's a motion on the table. Any opposed? Any abstain? So that's going to be table 10-0-0. Ms. Quinn.
I just, maybe in that interim period, we could find out what the nine.
I'm going to go up right now.
Cool.
I want to know.
I bet. Thank
More
you.
cloud storage, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying,
Whether it's Cirrus and.
we're always running out of space, right?
Okay, so we're going to move on to government buildings, and that will be starting on page 40. And I see Mr. Ellis has come to join us, but before he begins,
I gotta get there. So it's this page for this.
page 40.
So a motion that we move we're on town,
General government buildings.
general government buildings budget for the total of $108,868.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Whitmore, you are recognized to speak to the motion.
I'm going to defer to Ray.
Good evening, everyone. So government buildings, you want to go line for line, or you want to just,
So we will,
what's
we
been
will
changed?
defer to your, however you want to introduce it, Mr.
Okay.
Ellis, you introduce it, and then if you do a really great job, there won't be any questions, and, we'll go from there.
okay. So the first one's the part-time employee, which is myself. And I started out at 29 hours a week, and they moved me to 32 hours a week. So that increased the salary line, that and the COLA raise. So that brought that up to 50,735.36. Next line is the gas mileage slash gas line. I have a vehicle now. When I first started here, I didn't have a vehicle. I used my own, so I did mileage. Now that I have a pickup truck, I have a gas card, and so that line was put in. So there was never any money put into that. So we put $750 for the gas line. The next one, legal notices. We talked about that. We moved it to Karen's line because the 8 years I've been here, I've never used any of the money for the legal notices. So that was transferred over to town administration. So that's zeroed out. The stipend is just that. It's a monthly stipend. So for the telephone, I use my own phone. I don't have a town phone. So it's $20 per month. The next one is contract mowing. The 8 years I've been here, it's never changed. It's always been 78. So it's getting close to our expenditure on that line. So I felt comfortable just keeping it at 78. Hopefully, because the gas prices moving forward, that the prices come in next year and we can keep the 78. So that's why I didn't change that line. The next one is contract, government buildings, RB Lewis. They basically do all of the fire control for all the buildings in our town. They do the highway department, both Central Station and South Station. They do the library, the highway department, the pump houses. They also do extinguisher inspections once a year. They go around and make sure all the fire extinguishers are updated and working order. And they also put stickers on all the emergency lights to make sure they're working. And so we have 9 buildings that they take care of in town. So I make sure that gets done once a year. So that's that line. On the bottom of that line, we had to end up moving. We had a cleaning company come in and do the carpets for the first time in about 4 years. And we decided we're going to try to do that at least once a year. So we moved it. It got put under government buildings, and we moved it to the GBW because the GBW is the only building that's getting the carpets cleaned. So that line's down to 4,500. Electricity has gone up almost 11%. So we went from 63 to 73 for the government buildings. And then the heating oil, you'll see that South Station, the furnace finally died in the South Station. So we pulled the furnace out and we ended up putting a propane hot dog heater in there. So we switched from oil to the bottom line now is with Central Station, and on the bottom you'll see it says South Station, 809 gallons. Okay, so that changed that to $8,000 and zero up top on the heating oil. Okay, that's that line. Repairs and maintenance. So we do the filter systems, maintenance on all the government buildings. We have a maintenance contract, and they go around and they do all the filters. They check all of the firing order on the nozzles, highway department, transfer station, library, all the rest of the government buildings, as far as like highway department, on and on and on. Town hall, everybody gets checked. So that's $550. Service calls. That's been at $1, and we have been spending every year on service calls. So we put 300 in for service calls. Some years we don't use that much. Other years we'll go way over that.
So, hold on, I'm just a little curious, because it's showing year-to-date and 2024 actual is 0. So that shows a no spend, isn't We can come back to it when we get to the end.
Yeah. Okay, rubbish collection. So we switched from Waste Management to Pennard, and then Pennard got bought out by Casella. So we have a 10-yard dumpster. It's $400 a month, 4,800. Supplies, bathroom supplies, cleaning materials, softeners, all the cleaning supplies for the library and here and the rest of the buildings all come through here. So it's $4,300 a year in bathroom supplies and cleaning materials. Equipment and tools, $250. Basically, this line was so that if I could keep a contractor from fixing anything and I could do it myself, and I just needed to go down to the hardware store and buy a wrench, a hammer, whatever it was, there was money in that budget to do that so that we don't have to hire it out. I think this year I was close to the 250, it was like 237, 247, something like that. Grants $1, others are $1, the Joint Loss Management Committee. So there's never been any money in it, and they requested that we try to put $500 in there so that we can actually start buying safety things that we need for either signs, tape, paint, stuff like that for, a lot of the steps out there. Any change in elevation needs to be marked yellow. So there was never any money in that. It always come out of another line. So we put that in there so that we could try to copy where it comes out of. Okay. And let's see, that's it for government buildings, right?
Yep. Yeah, Maureen, you had it first, please.
Ray, I may have missed something, and perhaps it's just that the cleaning contract got pulled out of this contract line under the government buildings.
Right.
Why, if we've already spent 22,618 and last year spent 33, that you're asking only for 45?
Because we have a new contractor that's starting November 1st for cleaning, and they're cheaper.
It's a lot cheaper. I mean,
What is the price?
Sorry, what?
Do you have
there's-
follow- Maureen? We just got to go one at a time.
I thought you listed off a bunch of other things under that contract. So that's great. It just seemed like a huge discrepancy, but.
So it's, I believe, Karen, the new contract's what, 24 a month?
Yes, and a lot of the costs were reallocated, so it's not that it was a decrease in cost, it was just moved from to GBW.
So the 17.2 that's on the backup doesn't reflect the current request.
Right,
Can you
that
say
was
where it
original.
moved?
I'm sorry?
Where it was moved? We're on GBW, so.
No, we're on
We're
town.
on
building.
GB, we're in government
okay.
buildings.
So it's now
So when
GBW.
we get to George B. White,
Yeah.
I can say that fast, then you're going to see increases. Ms. McHugh, did you have a question?
Yeah, no, that was I was wondering, you're saying the current cleaning contract is 2,400 a month?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
But it goes-
right, it goes under GBW. And so the RB Lewis Fire Control is only gonna be about 4,500 a year.
Right. Well, they do a lot of different things for us, so.
Yeah.
We have the alarm system through them. They also do the maintenance, all the buildings, as far as like this building isn't sprinkled. And state law requires that a government building has to have a sprinkler system in it for the public. This one does not have it. So to get around that with the fire marshal, he said we had to have fire extinguishers put in, all the lights put in here, make sure all the signs were put up, and he would allow it. So that's what we've been doing. The only building that we have that is sprinkled is the town hall.
So GBW and town hall costs are built into those budgets separately, and everything else is here.
So that explains how, if some of the exit signs over at the town hall are not lit, it's because it's sprinklered. Is that correct?
Probably. But they get fixed every year.
Not in theory, but in practice.
Yeah.
Because,
They're not lit, it's the bulb's out.
but do they pick up on that stuff?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and
Yeah.
they repair
And
it as
they
well?
make sure they put a mark on them every year, dated.
Got you.
That they've been checked
So-
and
But if they're
okay.
only checking it once a year, if they check it today and the light burns out tomorrow, it's
Well, yes.
basically out for a year, right?
So my question originally was about the mowing contract. Can you tell me a little bit about the mowing contract?
So the mowing contract, basically, he does all the buildings like the George B. White. He does the town hall, he does the gazebo field, he does the library. He also does Parks and Recs, 2 ball fields, and he does all of the cemeteries and the transfer station.
Did you do the fire department?
Yeah, he does the fire department, but there isn't much grass. The fire department is central, but he
What
does that
about
little strip.
itself?
South Station, yeah, when he can. Some years they plow it pretty rough and there's piles of gravel. And we have to try to get somebody to come in and level it back out so the grass will grow again. But they do go over there with a weed whacker and trim it.
And he being, who's the contractor?
Blue Sky had the contract, but it's up this year. We had a 2-year contract. So in the spring, we will put it out to bid again.
So, but the Morrison Cemetery actually gets,
Yeah, Averill has
Averill.
done that ever since I've been here, before I came here,
do we
so,
pay him?
yeah, we pay him.
Where do we pay him from?
I don't pay him. I don't know where it comes out of.
So maybe
You'd have
out
to
of
ask.
cemeteries?
Morrison may be covered under Morrison Trust. I haven't had a withdrawal though for that, so.
Yeah, probably not,
don't
right?
know.
'Cause that's, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say, how often does it go out to bid? Is this a yearly bid or is it every
No,
3?
2-year bid.
Oh, 2. Okay.
Yeah, it used to be a yearly bid, but it was too hard to keep changing because we couldn't keep the contractors. So we lengthened it to a 2-year bid. We're also hoping this year to do that with the propane. Because the yearly propane is hard to move all the tanks in town. You got a 500-gallon tank full of propane. They have to move their tank, take it back with them. A new guy has to come in, put his tank in there, inspect it. And it's just relentless to do that because it takes up a lot of my time. I have to go around every single place with him, make sure that they're doing everything correctly. And then I want to shoot to either a 2 or 3-year contract on that this coming year, so that we don't have that problem. We just switched from Hafner's, and now we have company in Atkinson, and Palmer Gas and Oil. And the Hafner tanks are still sitting there. They haven't been moved yet. I've called them 3 or 4 times. Yep, we're gonna get it. But the tanks are still sitting there. Some of them were sitting there with 71% full. So it's nothing we're gonna move. It's a 500-gallon tank and it's full of propane.
Send them a storage invoice. Mr. Cresswell?
Ray, I have a quick question. You had mentioned on your rubbish collection that you have a 10-yard dumpster now at $400 per month for a total of $4,800 a year. But the budget line is showing $4,440. Is that
In the
Right.
detail, it says 370.
So
correct? Yeah.
basically, now that Casella's got it, I know it's gonna go up.
So that line should be adjusted to show the current.
So can I interrupt just real quick? Just to get everybody on the same page, right? As we move through this process, these are the pages that we're actually voting on. The other information is backup information and is there for informational purposes only, really. And so there were a couple of lines that didn't line up with what we heard, because what we heard was coming off the backup sheets. But this is the actual budget we're voting on.
Right.
So that is the sheet that you want to have correct.
So the 4440 that is on that line right now, according to what Ray just said, that the cost is going up for the 10-yard dumpster to $400 a month. And he needs $4,800 to survive the year. The 4440 is not going to cover that.
At the 400.
Yeah, no, that was a question I had as well, because so,
So that got changed. We used to have 2 dumpsters. We had 2 8-yard dumpsters. One of them was a recycled dumpster for cardboard. They informed us that they're not recycling cardboard. It was all going in the same dumpster. So I said, well, then why don't we get rid of one dumpster and only have one dumpster instead of two? And so they went to a 10-yard dumpster, and now cardboard and trash both goes in that same dumpster.
But I think this is a math question. 400 times 12 is 4,800, and you've got 4,440. So are you going to have enough to pay for the contract?
You said it's 370 per month on the
Oh,
backup.
it's 370
That's
per
on the
month?
backup.
That's
it's
on the back.
370, but
And Ray just said 400, so that, it's.
Well, I know
it's in
that's
this-
what it's going to end up being.
Okay, so do you have enough money in the budget to do that? That's the question.
we just need to know if we need to
For
make that
2026.
correction.
Yeah, it should be 48.
So I'd like to make a motion that we change line number 491 to reflect the current need for $4,800.
Second.
So, so you're adding $360, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And you're gonna bring it to 4,800. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to raise line 491, that's the last three digits in that budget by $360 to bring it to $4,800. Is there further discussion on that point? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Any abstain? So that's a 910. So that motion passes, and so the bottom line will end up being $360 larger.
109,228.
109,228. Looks like he's got a calculator, so I'll trust his math. Is there further discussion on government buildings, general government buildings? So just as a parliamentary reminder, because I'm about to call this budget, and if this budget passes and somebody has a question in the future, anybody voting on the prevailing side of a motion can make a motion to reconsider. It's been, I can't guarantee it into the future, but it's been the past practice that if somebody wants to reopen a budget for whatever purpose, the committee has always deferred to that and allowed the budget to be reopened for further discussion and potential motions. And, you know, I would certainly hope we would stick to that past practice in case somebody sees something later, okay? So if you don't have to rush to find what you're looking for. If you find something later, you can bring it up. So the motion on the floor now is general government buildings as amended in the amount of $109,228. And I'm not hearing any further discussion, so
Remember my
please.
I can address Ray. So $8,000 for propane, that's just for the supply, right?
Yes.
Have you ever done the math on owning your tanks?
On owning our own tanks?
Owning the own tanks?
Yeah, they've never brought it up because they put it out every year. I think that if we don't put it out every year and we did buy our tanks, we'd probably get a better deal.
I mean, what does a 500-gallon tank cost?
I don't know, I never priced them.
$2,000 maybe?
I don't know.
So I think it's in that range. I'm looking for one, so. So if you spent 2,000, be curious to know what, if you could save money,
Right.
maybe not for this budget, but
How many propane tanks do we have in town, Ray, do you know, roughly? Not to be quoted, just
At least 5.
sorry, so you're looking at 10 grand, they're $2,000 a piece, you're looking at 10 grand to buy them all. Because if you're gonna buy one, you should buy them all.
no, I don't disagree. So, but if you're talking about $8,000 for just the throughput, and that's gonna include some sort of rental fee for the tank, I'm sure. You know, I just wonder, I mean, this conversation is occurring in other areas in the town as well, as we'll see. But
Right, because the school also uses them. Doesn't come out of my budget, but
Doesn't come out
the
of-
propane
Yeah.
goes there too, same contract.
yeah, but if they were price competitive, if we owned our own tanks, they could fill those tanks as well.
Correct.
Yeah, so, we'd make a savings there.
I know they have 3 or 4 over there too, so.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with what is being proposed. My only caution or concern is with owning a tank, you own the tank, you own anything that goes wrong with the tank. If the vendor owns the tank, they own it, and they have to fix it or replace it if there's anything that goes wrong with it. So it's a small monetary cost for the lease part of that propane delivery, but you don't own the mistake if something goes wrong with the tank. I guess we'd have to balance that out too.
Well, so if I, just allow me to jump in. So really, it would be the purview of the select board to decide whether or not that is something that they would want to pursue. I don't know, I don't know that they could buy propane tanks off the existing propane line item. Maybe they could, maybe they couldn't, because I think typically we assume that when it says propane, we're talking about fuel, just like if you have to replace a furnace, it doesn't come out of the fuel line, it comes out of, an equipment line, right? So I really, I don't know what line we could even adjust to try and force a hand. So I would say that should probably be brought up at a select board meeting, maybe.
Yeah, I wasn't proposing anything, just wondering what the math from an economic perspective might be.
Yeah, that would be a good job for the select board, or if a member wanted to ballpark some numbers, it certainly, we could certainly discuss it. Further discussion on general government buildings? All right. I will take a vote. All those in favor of bottom line of $109,228, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? 10-0-0. So that takes care of government buildings. And now we will move on to George B. White Building, which is on page 44. Oh, I should mention, I should have mentioned it earlier, for those playing along at home, the budget is available on the town website. So if anybody wants to review the document or print it out, you can certainly find it now on the town website for general review. With that, we are at the George B. White Building budget.
Well, I will make a motion that we move the George B. White building budget of $118,876.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Whitmore, if you want to introduce.
Defer to Ray.
Hi, government buildings, GBW rather, see. So the first line, again, legal notices. Once again, the same thing occurred. I haven't used the legal notices in 8 years. And so we referred that back to the town administrator. So everything's gonna go back to there. If anything has to get used, it comes through her office. So that's got zeroed out. The next line is the GBW telephone. It's monthly telecommunication fee for the state. Information is split between us and the fire department. And that's $372. That hasn't changed. Next, GBW water testing. So as everybody knows, we've had some problems here with the water. We ended up finding out there was a lot of copper in our water. The state stepped in, was not happy with the levels. So we posted the water all the way down through from the restaurant, all the way up, letting people know about it, and we started treatments. The treatments did not take care of it. The levels were quite high. I know that acceptable levels were like 0.12, and Charlie's was about 4.9 on the copper level, way off the thing. State stepped in, said it has to be corrected. So they recommended to put an orthophosphate injection system in to coat the pipes so the copper wouldn't leach into the water. It was like $8,500. It went to the selectmen. The selectmen wanted to change the piping from copper to PEX. So we put PEX pipe all through the whole building, all the way down through, and we're waiting for results and tests from Granite State Analytical we have to have 2 passing tests before they'll let us off the hook on this copper issue. So
Can I ask just a quick question?
you certainly can.
So the supposition that the high copper was leaching from copper pipe, was the input source tested to make sure that the source of the copper is not outside the building?
It was tested at the well down back.
And the well is
was good.
non-copper rich?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So since then, AJ LeBlanc has done all the work, and we have PEX pipes running through the whole building. We're just waiting on results to see what was going to happen. We have to have 2 tests, but they only do it quarterly. So he'll do one in the next probably couple weeks. We'll do the first test, and then we'll probably have to wait to the first of the year before the second test. But we have to have 2 passing tests.
Mr. Rhodes?
Ray, are you doing any of your own testing on the side?
Yeah, but it's
or-
nothing to do with copper. That's just the pH
Yeah,
and
but
the
do you do a copper
alkalinity.
test to sort of figure out whether this is taking or not?
Yeah, I don't have anything to test it with copper. They only give me the thing for pH and the alkalinity.
So Nelson or any of those other people can't test for?
Yes, they can. We have our company that's going to test it, but they only do it 4 times a year.
Right.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Ms. McHugh.
And we can't go to like Manchester Analytical or any other source or McBride's over in Epsom and get our own test that will do the the copper test?
We can, but we pay them yearly for the testing.
How much is the?
If I can interrupt, so typically, metals is an analytical test. You need a certified analytical lab. So you can either pay the state or you can pay a third-party lab to do the work. Where we're already under contract to get the tests, the only downside to the contract is there's a delay in response, but the state is allowing us to keep the building open and businesses operating. So while there is a certain amount of sense of urgency, it's not like they're beating us over the head. One of the things that's good about the delayed testing is, if you get a good test and then you test immediately after, you have 2 tests really close in time, but you don't know what's going on over time. So the lag between the change and the test allows you to flush copper out of the system, even though all the pipe, anything that's residual, it might be hiding somewhere in a pressure tank or wherever. And then the other thing is, once you get that clean test, then you have another one months apart, and that gives you a sense of confidence that you have longevity, that the problem is cleared up. So I don't, personally, so I have a background in analytical chemistry. I don't think it would be worth the town spending the money to get quicker tests for stuff we're already under contract. Would you agree with that, Mr. Ogden?
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah,
to
and
put
I'm
you on the spot.
working closely with the state as well, so she actually works with me, and she's also contacted Karen, and she's gave us 2 extensions, right, Karen? So
Yes, and
far.
the quarterly component is a state requirement. It's
Yeah.
not it's not a time restriction on the vendor.
Yeah, see, they're looking for spread out data.
And basically, we have the kids down there in the restaurant, so they're monitoring it quite closely. So,
That explains all the red hair in town. It's a joke, of course. I'm sorry, Mr. Ellis, please continue.
yeah. So that's where we're at with the water testing, and it's continued to go up. They increased it, $250 increase, because they're testing for PFAS now as well. So we went over 19, we upped that to 22. Hopefully, we don't have any other increases coming down the line.
Have we had a PFAS test finished, completed?
Yes,
We clean?
we were clean,
Thank you.
yeah. Now, hopefully, now that we have PEX piping, it doesn't change.
Again, thank you, that's very cogent.
All right, so let's move on to electricity. Electricity in the GBW is quite expensive. There's always something on in this building. between the restaurant and the hairdresser and Parks and Recs and everything else that goes on in the meetings. We've been keeping it at 31,000 for electricity. Heating oil, of course, the price goes up. So we're up to, we're paying $2.589 a gallon. And so it figures out to 28,500 for the heating oil. Repairs and maintenance. This line here got adjusted. So before I came here, I guess it was back in John Harrington first started, they put carpet all through the George B. White. So this line got boosted so that they could pay for the carpet. So it stayed that way because we've been in default budget for 8 years. So every time we change that line, when we have a default budget, it comes right back to the 37. So it's kind of been a safety net for a bottom line budget, but we set it out at 21,050. If it passes, we can reduce it.
So actually, it shows on the budget that we have is 60,000.
Right.
That's the increase was for the cleaning contract to move over.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's under repairs and maintenance?
No,
Is
it's
it
under
does say-
miscellaneous.
Well, it
Carpet
does say
cleaning.
on the back here that there's supposed to be a line added, 399 George B. White contract, 1,700 times 12.
We
for
did,
20.
so for the worksheet purpose, I added it here, and then while we go through the budget process, we'll add that and then pull it back out and separate them.
So the residual number is 32 and change? 60 minus 28.8, or, yeah. 32.2.
Pulling 20,400 to the GBW contracts line for the cleaning contract.
Right, so it's actually 1,700 a month, not 2,400 a month for the cleaning contract?
It's 2,400 a month, but 1,700 is the GBW portion, and the rest is the library.
Yes, it's shared. The diesel is for the generator that we have here, the standby generator. It's been 1,500 since I've been here. I know that when it runs, we had it run one day, it was like, I think it was like $200 worth of diesel for an 8-hour day. Hopefully, we don't need it, but it's always been at 1,500, nobody changed it since, so. It starts up once a week, runs for an hour, shuts off. But when Eversource was here, not Public Service, they put brand-new lines down through here, and the new transformer, they shut the power down for a whole day, and we ran off the diesel generator. And it worked fine, and everybody stayed open, the restaurant could work, everything. So that line is basically if we have problems during the winter, we get shut down for a few days on power, we'll probably need that much fuel.
How often does that tank get filled?
It's on automatic, so basically about once a month, they come down and top it off.
Thank you.
The next line is the miscellaneous line that we added the carpet cleaning once a year, $2,500 to the whole building.
And that obviously got relocated somewhere else because on the budget it's shown $1.
So on the $60,000 repairs and maintenance line, the original ask was 37.1, and then it's 20,400 for the GBW contracts plus 2,500 for the carpet cleaning. That's how you get to the 60.
And the, so yeah, 57, so the 37.1, is there a schedule what makes that up?
So basically, it's yearly maintenance. Almost everything that we have to goes through here as far as anything to do with the GBW. So the furnaces, repairs to the building, all that also gets put on there.
Getting our septic pumped every other month.
Septic, yeah,
Yeah?
because we have
Include
septic
the
issues that
septic-
haven't been
Septic
resolved.
repair that you've been contemplating or not?
It's to be continued, it hasn't been resolved.
That hasn't been resolved yet? Okay. And, okay.
Go ahead, Ray, continue.
Okay, so, on this line here, that should be it. Let's see, is there another part? Check the other side.
No, the rest of them are just
Yeah,
placeholders at $1.
right. That should do it for GBW.
Ms. Quinn?
So, Ray, I just have a quick question about the electricity again,
Yep,
because I thought it was going to stay the same. I thought when you were giving the explanation, it was going to stay at 31. We're going down on the electricity budget. The proposed is 26?
that's year-to-date, correct?
No.
17,290, that's,
There's a correction that says it dropped down to 26, but
but why?
I think the
Why? Why would the electricity
Hold
budget?
on. Okay, hold on. So Ray submits a budget to the select board. The select board gets to do whatever they want to do with that budget. So any of those changes had to be made at the select board level unless he made some last minute rush. So my guess, if I had to guess, and I don't know, I haven't been watching select board meetings as diligently as I should, but, the year to date's at 17,000. The year before it maxed out at 26. My guess is they're probably trying to bring it in line with the actual spend, but I don't know that for a fact. Ms. Quinn?
Well,
Right,
Ms. Quinn?
I believe that the rates went up 11%. And I'm wondering if our select board rep could maybe enlighten us as to why this change was made.
I thought we were just keeping it in line with, trying to keep it in line with the actual cost. Was there something different, Ray?
Now, the actual cost, like I said, in 2024 was 26,067.36. 2025 budget, we put it at 31 because it was at 31. And the year-to-date budget right now is 17235. And we figured out to the end of the year, it'd probably be around 26. But if they go up,
I thought rates went up, so.
right. But they just recently went up. We don't see that on,
Right. No, but if we're looking ahead to next year.
correct, correct.
I'm just-
That's the crystal ball effect. Sometimes I have to do that.
I saw the hand move. Do you have a question, or you just? Okay. Mr. Rhodes, please.
So I think the town administrator had told us that there was an 11% increase in electricity going forward. So I have the same question.
Yep, but if you-
It's not a select board issue, it's just what we heard here. Ray said he's going to keep it at 31, and it says 26, and then in the background is this 11% increase question. So I'm not suggesting what it should be, but I'm trying to see why we have these numbers.
If you take the year-to-date and you divide it by 9, multiply it by 12, and then add in 10%, you get to 25,278. So they rounded up to
Okay, so that
26,000.
does include that, okay? So then, it's not 31, it's 26.
Right, that's what the board came up with,
Ray put in for
26.
31.
Yeah.
Right, he kept it
I
level
originally
funded,
had
and
it
then
at
it was
31,
adjusted based off
not
of
knowing.
24 and 25 actuals.
Anyway, thank you, Ray.
Yep.
Yes, please, Ms. Mascioni.
My only concern with that adjustment is that as we go into winter, we'll be seeing higher bills again. So I'm not sure that that calculation accounts for the increase in electricity, because we'll have shorter days for the next 3 months than we've had. That gives an oversized influence to the summer months with lower electricity. When
Right.
you break out the 9 months and say year-to-date divided by,
So to that point, I would say you also have January, February, and a good bite of March that are unfortunately pretty dark months in the northern hemisphere.
Yes, but when you take those 9 months and divide it by 9, you're giving equal weight to darker months, when in fact you'll have double the darker months on the year.
Okay, so then the only thing we can do, other than commentary, is
vote to
make
increase
a
it.
motion
Okay.
to change line items. So if somebody's in the mood for changing any of the line items, all it needs is a motion, a second, and a majority vote.
Well, no, it's a
Mr.
good,
Chair?
Yeah, please.
The other thing you gotta remember is, we have the pump house out back, where the water comes into the building, and during the winter months, it has an electric heater that keeps that building warm. The same thing with the town hall and all the rest of the buildings that have outside plumbing. Get to keep it pretty much warm in there, so that's gonna increase the electricity as well. Doesn't run during the summer.
But, oh, okay, but that's not new.
It's not new,
okay.
but that's that crystal ball effect.
Sure.
Trying to keep it close, but not go way over, but you still got to have a little bit of cushion because of the unknown factor.
So the one thing I'll note, and I'm not gonna beat this horse, is, well, maybe I will, probably not.
Go ahead.
Beat the horse as hard as I have, but if you look at the bottom line of the budget, before tonight, the proposed budget for 2026 represents a 15.8% year-on-year increase. And so I'm not convinced that can get passed. That's a very heavy lift, especially knowing the school budget's going to be coming up because we've got employee contract drivers. So it's gonna, in my opinion, it's gonna be a tough year. So if you want to increase electricity, at the end of the day, I don't think it's gonna have a big impact, because I think the bottom line's already digging a pretty deep hole. Is there any further discussion on George B. White? I can't say GBW, I can say George B. White pretty good, though. Any further discussion? Yes, please.
Well, I was just thinking that what you might want to consider is taking what your actual was in 2024, because you don't have it all the way for 2025, and add an 11% increase, which brings it up to 28.9, so it's about 29,000 or 30,000. I mean, it gets right back to kind of where you were, so.
So any of the 11 members can make a motion. Going once? Well, I guess Mr. Rhodes can't because he left us for the moment. Going twice? All right, so I'm gonna call the vote on bottom line George B. White in the amount of $118,876. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Rhodes? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? 10-0-0. That closes out George B. White. You got one more with us, Ray.
Yep, Town Hall.
Page 47.
So to start the town hall off, the first line, the telephone, phone at the town hall has been removed. They don't need it. They don't need it for the voting machines. There's nobody over there to answer the phone or use the phone. So to pay $530 year after year after year, I finally brought it to their attention that we don't use it. Can we pull that line? And we did. So that's now zeroed out. So we saved $530 there.
Mr. Rhodes?
Mr. Ellis, does that mean we can take that physical thing off the wall?
Yeah, you could.
Okay, just checking.
I believe the Historical Society has every intention of preserving that artifact for future generations.
Historical Society has nothing to do with the town hall.
They can meddle into anything they so choose. Go ahead, Mr. Ellis.
Okay. Contracts. The fire alarm yearly contract, the sprinkler system testing. We've changed contractors back a little while ago. Now we have RB Lewis Fire Control, and the cost is $3,000.
So why do we see no spend there? Can somebody point me into why we continue to budget $3,000 and apparently in
We did an adjusting entry to move the money from the general government, from the government buildings budget this year into that spend line. So this worksheet was just not updated after that point.
Thank you.
So
Mr. Rhodes?
RB Lewis, to whom we pay 4,500 on the government building side, would be doing this work at the town hall.
Correct, so they're budgeted and allocated separately. So the spend for '24 was all put in the government buildings budget, and so the finance administrator did an adjusting entry to reallocate those funds to the appropriate buildings.
So should this $3,000 be zeroed out?
No, it was spent this year.
Mr. Chairman,
To spend out of a
Mr.
different
Cresswell.
line.
if I recall, a couple, maybe 2 years ago, they said that that used to be all under one line, and they broke it out to be each individual department. So that initially, that cost was higher, but it was under one line, it was under one building, but then they broke it down to show the spend on each building individually. So that's why it's on this budget now.
So, while I don't disagree that that was the discussion, and that was probably the intent, it's clearly not happening because the spend in this budget is zero.
Aaron just said that it just hadn't been updated with the actual spend yet.
Okay. So, I mean, we can go with that. I'm not pressing. It's just when you're up over 15%. I'm sorry, Mr. Ellis, go ahead,
Yeah,
continue,
so
please.
basically, what we're trying to do is account for the expenditure for what it is supposedly for. So that's why they decided to start moving things from the government buildings to the GBW, because it was GBW only, or this case, town hall only. They didn't want to keep taking it out of the government building line. So we're trying to make it look like it's appropriated in the right line so that
Yeah,
I can spend it correctly.
I understand. If
Okay.
you want to move
Yeah.
forward,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
Electricity, $8,000. Pump house sprinkler system also uses the power for that. And right now, it's around $8,000. It's the best guesstimate because we don't use the town hall all the time. And in the past, we have actually shut it down for the winter. And then it got voted back that they want to keep it running for the winter. So we're trying to figure that out.
So the intention this year is to keep that building above freezing?
Correct.
For the whole winter, not winterize it, not close it down. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank God, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Rhodes?
So that's three-phase at that location, if I'm not mistaken.
Only to the pump house.
Only to the pump house. Does the pump house serve anything other than the town hall?
No.
No? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So I guess the only question I have is why, in their infinite wisdom, it doesn't appear that the select board made the same adjustment to the electricity line here that they did in the previous budget. In full disclosure, that is not my original thought. I overheard that, but I felt it wasn't going to be brought up, and I thought it was worth a discussion as to why we're making adjustments to electricity on one line item, which I think are fitting, but we're not following through as we continue through budgets. And I guess I would look to the select board representative for,
What did we calculate out for the whole year for this? Like, so if we have, what is it, 4637 to date, what did it calculate out for the
I
whole
think
year?
the level funded line item was more than enough. I think that's why it was left alone.
Okay. And was the increase, did that have to do with keeping it open all year?
Right, because now it stays,
Yeah.
lights are in there more now, and the heat. People are using it a little bit more.
Parks and Rec is using all that electricity for all those shows.
Correct. Halloween dance.
okay,
Okay,
so I'm satisfied unless somebody has more discussion, because I believe the electricity use will go up with that building being open all winter, and I, for one, am glad it is. Please, Mr. Ellis, if you will.
town hall heating oil. So at the rate, 3,500 gallons at 2.589 Figured out, well, rounded off to 10,000.
So since we're sort of doing this one line by line to a certain extent, I will say that that number looks large, but where we intend to keep it open for the winter, I think we should probably just let it play out for a year and maybe reevaluate that budgetary amount next year. Please, Mr. Ellis.
Correct. Maintenance line. So the maintenance line, I used to try to paint 2 sides of the town hall every year. And then we had to go down to painting it 1 side every year because the 10,000 used to do 2 sides and now it only does 1 side. With a budget maintenance in the past, we had $9,319. We're already shy. So it hasn't been getting done because we've had maintenance problems inside the town hall that we had to take care of. So if we paint 1 side of the building, we have to shut the building down because we don't have any money to fix anything. So it's stayed at $10,000.
1 second, Mr. Ellis, go ahead, Mr. Rhodes.
So that's where the new hot water heater came from?
Correct. And furnace repairs.
The
We
coffee
have one
drinkers-
down there
The
that's,
coffee drinkers, thank you.
yeah. Okay, so sprinkler system maintenance. I know every year there's pump house parts and labor. I know the jockey pump had broke down last year, and we had to pay for that. So this line basically covers the $2,000 because we'll spend that in a year easily, maintenance.
But yet we show no spend for 2 years on that line. So I'm not trying to debate you that we're
No,
not
no,
spending the money.
I understand.
The challenge that I have is I'm looking at a budget that I'm supposed to, vote yes or no, and I see going from $1 to 2,000 because we're spending money, but yet when I look at the line item, I see no spend. And it's tough for me to get behind that because it looks like we're just padding money for other things. And I guess, that comment, I guess, is more towards the select board. At the end of the day, you guys are the executive board of the municipality, and you're increasing a budget that shows no spend. And that's a tough one for me to swallow, Mr. Rhodes.
So, but that's a line that had only $1 in it, but you had to make repairs and fix
Correct.
the sprinkler system. So I guess sounds like what the select board's doing, or you're recommending they do, is to start putting money in that line so that it's gonna,
Instead of taking it out of a line it shouldn't come out of.
No, I think, with all due respect, I think we're getting confused about how we're supposed to be accounting for money. So if the idea of $1 in a line is to keep the line open so that you can have expenditures against that line. And if you have expenditures against that line, then the expenditures should show in that line. So you should show a budget of $1, you should show an actual spend of close to $2,000, and then it becomes quite obvious to everybody, the taxpayers, us, everybody, that, yeah, that money is actually needed because we're overspending that line. The money that they've spent, I agree, has to come from somewhere. It came out of some other line that was underspent because the money was spent here, but we're not accounting for it here. That's the challenge I
I
have.
agree that the accounting is wanting, but in reality, repairs were made that belong on that line. So I guess
But see, I don't know that because it doesn't show it there. So
what
to me,
is
it's
it?
an allegation.
it would be an allegation.
Because it's not accounted for in the budget correctly.
Can the town administrator enlighten us on this or not?
I'll have to pull the invoices
Yeah.
and see what the actual spend is on that line.
See what it was.
So I'm not an accountant, and I never pretend to be one, for sure. But if you've got an invoice, the invoice has to be posted against the budget somewhere. So I guess the follow-up question would be, what line were we spending against? Because we say we're spending against this line, but it shows no spend. So we're actually spending on a different line. So should this line go back to being $1, and the other line be adjusted. If the other line needs to be adjusted, for all I know, they've invoiced to a line that's appropriate, and there's enough money in that line to cover the expenditure, in which case this money would not be needed.
So we have two lines that both say maintenance on them. The 7609 in 2025 could probably cover the jockey pump and a hot water heater and still not be too far off from the 4777 the prior year. So it may well be an entry issue. Were there any other issues at the town hall that needed to be covered?
Well, issues are going to come up all the time, especially with maintenance.
Can I just cut you off real quick?
Sure can.
But if we do that, right? So I see one maintenance. Where's the second maintenance?
The sprinkler system maintenance and the town hall maintenance, two maintenance, I mean, my point is that
But we budgeted 9,319, and we've spent 76, call it 7610.
we're adding painting into that for next year.
Yeah, but we still haven't overspent that line.
No, because you didn't paint. You didn't paint, but you paid for a boiler and a jockey pump instead of painting. Now they want to paint next year and put the jockey pump and the boiler type repairs into the proper line. Or the jockey pump was a sprinkler line item, and my guess is, we're gonna get a clarification, I guess, from the town administrator at some point on how that worked out, but I agree with you, the accounting looks questionable. If those are the facts that I'm hearing Mr. Ellis say, then it needs to be reflected properly in the budget.
100%. I'm sorry, Mr. Tellis, if you continue, please.
Well, there are many things that come up, like just the other day, the alarm was going off out front of the building, and called R.B. Lewis. He came down and adjusted it, and it was $807. So, bang, we put it down, but it's always going to be different whenever you're working with companies like that in electronics. I know.
I'm not, so the line of questioning and discussion I'm having
Yep.
is not pointed at you.
No, I understand that.
It's pointed at the accounting functions and the select board.
Right.
I understand, you get a service call, you get an invoice, you give it to the town, they pay it, right? 100%. And at that point, I would say, you're done. You've done your job, right? You got the work done. You submitted the invoice. The question is, how are we accounting for that money in such a way that when somebody asks me, hey, what about this? I don't say, well, yeah, I guess they spent it, but they didn't show me they spent it. They spent it somewhere else. And it becomes very difficult. So then, well, why did you vote for the budget? If you're not sure and you don't see it, why did you vote in favor of that? That's so the point is not being made to you. The point is being made really to the select board, because they're in charge of everybody else. Mr. Cresswell, please.
Can I possibly recommend that we table this until we can get clarification on those questions that we've been asked?
So I will entertain that motion, but I would like Mr. Ellis to be able to complete his thing, so, because we probably don't need him back for that part of the discussion, because I don't want him to have to come back for a couple items. Mr. Ellis, if you would continue where you left off, I'd be obliged.
Okay. Next one's the town hall rubbish collection. And again, there's an 8-yard dumpster over there at $320 a month. And again, that's because we switched to Pinard, which is now Casella. So I put $38.40.
Because Casella bought Pinard.
Correct.
Yeah, so the vendor changed but didn't change. Got it.
And then the rest of them are $1.
All right. So
The one thing that doesn't show on here too is the restoration fund. That was always at a zero. We
So-
tried to change that, Mr. Flavel, if you remember right, a few years ago, and it didn't pass. So it went back to zero.
correct. Ms. Quinn?
Well, that was my question, is wouldn't it need to at least have $1 in it to have a place on the budget?
So yes and no. So I only got this last night. I'm highly delinquent. If you thumb through the page numbers, you'll often find that there are many pages that appear to be missing by page number, and that's because they are budget sections that haven't been funded in so long, we just don't print them out anymore because there is no dollar. My guess is that is still showing up because there was an attempt to put a dollar into that line item to do some work. The proposed budget didn't pass, and the default is what we have, so it goes back to zero. You can, if a line appears, but the budgeted amount is zero, you cannot spend against it.
Right.
You have to have at least $1 to spend it against it. Ms. O'Donnell, please.
I just wanted to say, this came up at our school board meeting, and evidently, if you move a line to zero, it still has to stay on the budget for 3 years, and then it gets taken off.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, okay, and that I'd never heard, and that makes sense to me.
And that's why we've been trying to put at least $1 in so it don't just disappear.
So again, because it's before us, right? If a member of this committee wanted to make that motion, and get a second, that could happen. I'm just reminding people of, what is possible in our realm. Mr. Rhodes, did you have a question?
Now I've got three.
Okay. Okay.
Listening to everybody. Shortage. What's that?
No shortage.
The 3840, I just, I know what happens at the town hall pretty well, and I just have a hard time believing that everything, I don't know if that dumpster is full, but it seems like a heavy lift for the stuff that happens at the town hall. I clean it up after a bunch of events. We're not talking a quarter of a dumpster a year in that stuff. So I'm just wondering if that 3840 is a proper allocation to this. I mean, I understand you got to pay for that dumpster. Does the highway department use it? Does anybody else use it? Who
I
uses
believe
that
the
dumpster?
highway department uses it. I believe there are probably some people in town that use it without a camera there. Or if you want, you're welcome to go through the trash and see if you
Do some sleuthing? Is that, I'm not sure that's in the job description, but
So I'm fairly certain that he did not suggest or recommend that based on town liability, and we would not encourage you to do that.
is that right?
That would be
My diving days are limited.
in town dumpsters, yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So, but the point is, allocating it to this slightly, I think, inflates the true cost of the town hall. I don't know if the select board would consider.
I know the library uses it, the fire department uses it, the highway
Okay,
department.
so we got
uses it.
three other departments that got robust budgets but they're dumping 3840 on the town hall. So I would hope maybe that the town can think about how to equitably,
One dumpster versus three.
what's that?
One dumpster versus three.
Oh, it's a savings. We're generating.
It's a net
It's
savings.
a savings. Let them pay for it then.
And it is a bottom line budget.
Bottom line,
so
yeah.
we all pay for it.
Yeah.
You could divide it by thirds and put it a third into each.
Ms. McHugh.
I just have a question. So, is there any possibility that there may be a warrant for town hall restoration funds to be put into the trust? We do have a town hall restoration, so I don't necessarily recommend taking anything out of the maintenance line, but I wonder, for repairing the ceiling, for
Right.
repairing that kind of stuff, if you have that in mind about the trust, and perhaps putting money into it or having the select board create a warrant on that aspect. Because I see, obviously, you need to paint and you need to repair some ceilings and.
It's showing its age right now,
Oh, for
and,
sure.
it needs window repairs. There's some framework that needs to be taken care of, like underneath the doors, starting to show some rot. I hate to see it fall, but there's just not enough money in the budget to do any massive repairs right now. Like you said, if we can get a warrant article and it gets passed, wonderful.
Right.
I'd even thought of putting up a thermometer out front and taking donations if we could, but
So
Mr. Rhodes, go ahead.
if I may, so you're probably aware, Ray, that the Heritage Commission has been spending a lot of time on this.
yes.
There's a report on the town website and on the Heritage Commission website that goes through a substantial number of repairs to including the windows, including the sill, including the mess of a front door that we have, without addressing other issues, just the bare bones of that building. So, and there is a number, there's a $300 to $350,000 number of repairs over 10 years, okay? It addresses a lot of these things. So I know the intention of the Heritage Commission is to do, to take that forward, and we're going methodically and slowly in doing that. So the request that had been made of the select board, but I don't know if it can be done here, that'd be great, is to just put $1 in that line, the restoration line, because there is a town hall restoration trust fund that has some funds in it, and to be prepared to start spending some money, small stuff, big stuff, however it comes up, but after careful deliberation and planning and review by all the people that need to review it.
A quick question for Ms. McHugh. To spend against an already established trust fund does not require a line item in the operating budget. Is that correct? So if you have a trust fund for the purpose, you don't require $1 in the budget to pull from the trust fund. The trust fund is sort of a standalone entity from the budget. So the purpose of putting $1 for any purpose into this budget would be to allow the select board to allocate funds from some other source to further fund that for the purpose. That's the purpose of holding open $1, just like full-time firefighters, right? The purpose of putting $1 in there is that if money falls from heaven, you could hire full-time firefighters. But again, yes, if somebody wants to make that motion, we can. Ms. Marchioni, please.
I just want to understand the maintenance and repairs 10,000 a little bit better, because it says paint 2 sides of town hall, ceiling repair. You talked about painting, it costs 10,000 to paint 1 side of the town hall. So what is this 10,000 actually anticipated to cover? Clearly, it's
So
not
it covers all repairs to the town hall. That's my maintenance line to fix the faucets if they blow, toilets, the furnace, a broken window, door locks, things of that nature. Or if I need to paint the ramp again, the handicap ramp, I painted it last year.
Okay, so it is not for painting the exterior.
No, that's what it's being used for, because it costs, the whole budget is to paint 1 side. So if I paint 1 side, I have no more maintenance money in that line to do anything else that happens at the town hall.
Right, so you
Without
were,
taking it out of another line.
okay, so you were not painting the outside of the town hall with that money. That was my concern, that if that was the plan, obviously that leaves you with nothing there. And I know there
Town
was,
hall is not getting painted.
At this time, no.
there was discussion of possibly putting a warrant article
Correct.
on for painting at the select board. Okay, and then on the sprinkler system maintenance, that $2,000, is that, you have 2 things here, sprinkler maintenance and then upcoming repairs needed, pump parts and labor. Is
Right.
that 2,000 just for sprinkler maintenance?
So I don't have any control over what they charge for their services. And their rates are pretty expensive. And I know that every time they come down there, it's always between $600 and $700 for anything. Just replacing light bulbs on the computer board, the circuit board, So I was trying to give a cushion so I could pay on that line, because I know that we do every year. Every time he comes out and he goes through the maintenance of the pump house, something is going down. It's an old system. We're just trying to keep it running.
Okay, so the pump parts and labor is included, that's part of the sprinkler maintenance?
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought they were 2 different items, which is
He comes in,
why.
he tests the pumps. He actually pumps out like 500 gallons of water out of it, make sure everything works, checks all the pressure in the lines, make sure the circuit board's doing what it's supposed to, so that if there was a fire in the building, that it would kick on. So they test it at the back of the building, they test it in the pump house, and then they also go upstairs in the attic and test all of the sprinkler systems to make sure that they're working.
Mr. Ellis, quick question. The pump that's supplying the sprinkler system is Is that separate than the water supply, the potable water supply? Or is?
Yes, it's separate.
It is, okay, thank you, Mr. Rhodes.
And that's the tank that you had somebody go into.
Right, we had scuba divers in it, yeah.
Yeah, scuba divers in that.
So the tank was leaking a few years ago, a couple of years ago, and we were losing water, and there's a light on the outside of the pump house. I don't know if you've seen it, it's on now. It only comes on when the tank's down 500 gallons. Then that light comes on, lets you know there's a problem, and that it may not work if you let it go too long. So then I usually get a hold of the fire chief, he sends those guys over for training, and they fill it back up, and then he tells me how many gallons it took to fill it back up. So if it's over 500 or 600, that's telling me we got a bigger problem, and I need to have somebody look at it. A couple of years ago, it was like over 1,200 gallons each time you filled it. And I said, the water's going somewhere. And then we had a big puddle out front of the pump house where the new walk pathway is. That was all soaked all the time. The water was actually puddling underneath there and coming to the surface. So RB Lewis again came down, and we put scuba divers in the tank because it's a fiberglass tank. And then we found out that the tank has a seam in it, and then it settled, and the top of the seam opened up, so it was leaking from the top. So we emptied the tank, they went down in there and repaired the tank rather than replace it, and we filled it back up, and it's been pretty good. But the light's on again, and I haven't had the fire department. I've called them a couple of times, he said, yep, we'll get to it, but they haven't got it yet. So I don't know how low it is right now.
So as a follow-up question, then, I wonder if this is a capital improvement program candidate. If you think, I mean, either the pump, you said the pump is old, and the tank is leaking, if that's not something that.
We got a new jockey pump now.
It would, fabulous. But just in terms of planning.
I know.
I'm just wondering if that's been anywhere on the mind of the
I'm waiting for
select
them to
board.
fill it now so I can find out if we have another big leak. Because like I said, the light comes on when it goes down 500 gallons.
What's the total volume?
What's that?
What's the total volume?
30,000?
Okay, thank you.
It's a big tank. It's underneath the pump house. And if we tear the tank out, we have to move the pump house out of the way to get the tank out.
Yeah.
So that'll be quite expensive.
Ms. McHugh?
One more question. We had batteries of some sort installed at the town hall. What's the latest on that? We needed to add something like solar panels or something along those lines in order for that battery backup to work, correct?
The battery backup is hooked to the electrical power now. It has a trickle charge system on it.
Okay.
And it keeps them 100%. It'll last about 8 hours on those batteries running the whole building. And then if you take a generator and hook it up to the batteries, within a half hour, they're fully charged again. So we went with that system rather than a diesel generator, and the select board made the decision to go with the battery system, so that's what we have in there. It seems to be working.
Ms. Quinn, please.
Ray, this is related, but somewhat of a tangent. What is this, the situation with the water quality in the town hall? Is it drinkable now?
No. I've never got a statement saying that we could drink it yet. I think, was it the Heritage Commission, Mr. Rhodes? Somebody.
I actually had it tested. It's
You had it
actually
tested.
potable. Water, last time it was tested, was potable. It's high on manganese, but technically it's potable.
Water comes from the highway department.
Yeah, but the water was, the hot water had a lot of iron in it because we were having a dying hot water heater. The select board chose to wait until it actually died before replacing it, despite the fact that it was coloring the water. And
it did.
And it did, we see that they paid for a hot water heater out of this. But no, it is, I would take issue with the statement that it's not potable. It is, in fact, it's been tested as potable.
And then the library and the fire department share water. So there's one well for two buildings.
Just one other tangential question.
Yeah, please, Ms. Quinn.
So it seems like other departments have maintenance and repair. And it sounds like a lot of repairs and plenty of maintenance too, but definitely repairs. What's the protocol for like renaming a line so that it more accurately reflects? And also not to put repairs into the restoration budget, it would seem like it would be good to have that someplace else.
So that's an excellent question. I do not know the answer to that question. That would be probably most appropriately directed towards the select board. I'll take it up as an action item if you'd like me to do some research.
I just like, we're very much sticklers about what can come out of budget line items for certain things, and yet we're doing repairs on the maintenance line item. So
I don't like the way that's set up anyway, because
So I will inquire, as to what who and how can do that, and I'll try to report back by our next meeting. I know some people in Concord that should be able to give us some good information there.
so as it stands now, the fire department has a maintenance line.
Yeah.
Highway department has a maintenance line. Library has a maintenance line. So,
So, Mr. Cresswell, I had cut you short. You were considering making a motion. You still interested in that motion?
Absolutely. I think we should make a motion to table the approval of, which we haven't opened yet, by the way.
Yeah, it was moved.
It was moved, yeah.
It was moved, yes.
Not town hall.
All right,
It
so
doesn't
then,
look like he's gonna give it
hold
all.
on.
All right,
Then there is no motion, right? Because we haven't opened it.
We haven't opened it yet, but
At
maybe we
that-
should do that first.
Sure, so for that, I would look for the select board representative.
Before or after?
So I motion that we move the,
So the motion's gonna be to table.
I understand
Do
that.
do you want to do that? Do you want to do, if you want to do that, now's the
Yeah,
time.
I'd like to.
No, he has to open it first.
Oh, he's open, okay.
So go ahead.
so I motion that we move the town hall budget for $36,842.
second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Or a motion?
One more thing.
Okay, Ms. Quinn, I believe there's going to be a motion to my left, but go
It
ahead.
might be the same thing.
Go ahead. You guys
I
can fight over it.
wanted to move $1 into restoration.
Oh, second.
So the motion is to add $1 to the town hall restoration line. And so hold on, it's moved and seconded. The first speaker is always the maker of the motion, or at least that's who it gets offered to. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Well, I just think, I know that the town has a process ongoing with the Heritage Commission, right?
Yes.
About starting to address some of the issues with the town hall. And I think it makes all the sense in the world to have at least $1 in that line item, so that should a warrant article or something like that be proposed, it could have a budget line item to be applied to.
Mr. Rhodes?
So I agree with that, but I also agree with the chair's earlier observation that trust fund funds can get spent without $1. The reality is that there might be a warrant article, and there also are other escrow funds that are controlled by the select board that would maybe not likely be able to be spent through the trust fund mechanism. There's also the possibility that the town can accept donations, which would then go into the Heritage account, one of two funds that it has that the town manages. So it's to spend, primarily, I think, to spend those monies that one would have $1 in, which is why I supported the motion. But not to restrict it to the spending of because the trust fund is the Town Hall Restoration Trust Fund, is that not right?
Town hall restoration. correct.
Yeah, the Town Hall Restoration, so it would be for the town hall purpose that, that the dollar would be there for the town hall.
And if there were a warrant article passed.
Yes.
That was my point, not
Yeah.
so much the trust,
Excellent.
because she already had clarified that it doesn't have to go against a budget line item. But if there were a warrant article
Further discussion? Ms.
Mr.
Mastriani?
Chairman, where would you draw the line between restoration and repairs and maintenance? So most of what if you replace windows, if you paint the building, if you repair electrical, I mean, you could call all of that restoration, but you could also call it repairs and maintenance. So it seems to me that you're doubling your accounting lines here to no real end at the end of the day, quite honestly.
So what I will note is there's probably a legal definition. I don't know that there is, but there's probably a legal definition. I do know that there's going to be a motion to table this budget coming up. And so that would allow somebody to do the homework to see if there's a legal definition of restoration versus maintenance. What I will say is that a warrant article does not require a line in the budget to be spent against. Warrant articles are standalone spending decisions for the specific purpose in the warrant article and are independent of the budget. When we talk about escrow funds, I'm assuming that is the retention of impact fees from developers that can get invested into various things in the town, if the town or the school district, if it's the school district legal entity we're talking about. So it's the same for both, right? That you can only use that money if you have your ducks in a row. Last I knew, our ducks are not in a row, and I could be mistaken there. Do we have a 10-year plan and all that stuff that's required to spend those monies?
We have a CIP, it's going through the planning process right now. We have a master plan that's about to be reviewed. So yes, that's in process. To that point, though, I would say that the distinction is the Heritage Commission has two escrow funds. Those purposes are strictly for the town hall. If you put it into maintenance, it then opens up to the entire budget. It's a bottom line budget. So the Heritage Fund, Heritage Commission funds are specific, and the select board is restricted as to how they can spend those. If you just throw it into town hall maintenance, you're now at a zero, you're at a bottom line budget play game, and you can.
But I don't believe that that's the way the money is allocated. If you're removing monies, so monies that are in trust funds or held in escrow are outside of this budget, because you can't point to where they are in here, right? And so they are spent against their purpose, and so they don't require the line. So that's what I'm getting at, is nobody has made a compelling argument to me yet as to why we would open this line up with $1 for that purpose, other than we would be taking money from other discrete lines within the budget to fund it. That would be my opinion. And I will have one more comment when we get close to wrapping up the discussion. Ms. Marchioni.
So because I think you're essentially opening a double line, because all of those expenses will rightly belong in maintenance and repairs for the town hall. Mr. Chairman made a great point about if you're using escrow funds, they're not showing up in here anyway. So for that reason, I would not be in favor of putting $1 in that line. You'll never know, well, what did you pay out of this line? Well, what did you pay out of that line? It's all essentially the same. They're repairs at the end of the day, whether they're
Not if they're budgeted correctly, not if they're accounted for correctly, but I understand your point.
if they're capital improvements or you call them repairs, at the end of the day, they're falling under that line.
Ms. Messier.
We do have this last one down here. Other charges and expenses. If you look here on the other page, it says emergency repairs. So is that somewhere else that, restoration funds could go in one place and repairs could go on that line? The other charges and expenses. I mean, it's there when it's open.
That would be a question for the
Right.
town administrator or the select board, I would.
Right, but it does exist and it's open.
Ms. Quinn.
So I agree with Stacy. They're all sort of nebulous categories, but I do, it kind of goes back to my original point about the line item names, in that I think repairs should be there somewhere. Whether it's how we interpret restoration or how we interpret maintenance, I just think it would be clearer and cleaner if repairs was somewhere.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Karen, but generally in an accounting system, your maintenance and repairs, it's called M&R quite often, they're all in one line. Because how do you differentiate between what is maintenance and what's a repair? Maintenance, generally, you're repairing something.
So to be clear, the motion is to put $1 into the restoration line item. And again, I believe there's probably a legal definition of that, although I can't, somebody will have to do the homework to see if that's true or not.
I'd like to see clarification on that. There's another aspect of this which is important, maybe not from an accounting perspective, but when people give money to the town for this purpose, they are looking for certainty that it will be spent appropriately.
So then it should go into a trust fund or some other mechanism.
That's what the Heritage Fund escrow accounts do.
But that's not what the dollar will do.
Well, so
Dollar will do
if
the
the dollar, if we can get clarification that the dollar is not necessary for that, then I'd be fine with that as well. So, but that's what the concern is that people want to make sure their money, as with a lot of things in this town, is spent for the right purpose.
So parliamentarily speaking, we have a couple of options. We can vote on the motion as is and see what the vote is. A motion to table the motion to put the dollar in would also be in order. And the third potential path forward would be the seconder could remove the second so that the motion maker could remove the motion. The budget's getting tabled, so we'll be coming back to it. And so people could, get their ducks in a row to find out if there is a legal definition of restoration, if we can change the name of the line, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it doesn't matter to me how the committee wants to dispose with this, either vote on the motion. If the seconder and the motion maker want to remove their support, that's fine. Or if somebody wants to make a tabling motion on this motion.
Would you like the definition?
Yeah,
I'd like the source of the definition and the definition, please.
Well, it's just AI, but restoration is the process of returning something to its original condition, often involving reconstruction and preserving historical accuracy.
So I should have been more clear. My question is about the legal definition, the New Hampshire legal definition of restoration in New Hampshire RSA. Is it defined in RSA? And if so, under what context? That would be that, because that would be the law. Otherwise, yes, it would default to a common, probably a Black's legal dictionary, I would imagine would be the next if it's not defined in law.
And I should add a further complication here, and that is what's happening at the town hall is actually rehabilitation, because restoration is defined well, and restoration has a standard that rehabilitation does not have. So, I think we should get clarification on all those things before, so.
Are you removing your second?
I append it do I have assurance there'll be a motion to table?
I was gonna offer that we table this until we clarify the definitions of what is needed, and whether or not we can change the definition of the maintenance line to also include repairs.
And we have other questions. He was going to table for other questions earlier.
But that's
This budget's
specifically-
getting tabled.
Specifically to this motion.
So why don't I remove the second to let that tabling process go forward?
If you remove the second, do you remove the motion? You can make it again when we come back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
That's
so
fine.
the seconder has removed the second, the motion maker has removed the motion. It brings us back to the town hall budget, of which maybe somebody wants to make a motion.
Make a motion that we table the town hall budget until we can get clarification.
No, the reason, we don't have to list the reasons. All we're gonna do is table it. Everybody can go off and do their
Second.
table second. Tabling is non-debatable. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 10-0-0. So town hall has been tabled. A question to the committee. Do we believe that we need Mr. Ellis to come back, or are we?
I think the questions that we need to have answered can be answered between the town manager and
That's my opinion. Is there anybody that is
Agree with that.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Ellis, thank you for coming in. We appreciate your time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mr.
Ray.
Ellis.
And if anybody has a question for Mr. Ellis, just send it to me in an email and we can forward it along and get whatever answers are necessary. So that gets us out of.
Thanks, Ray.
That gets us out of IT and government buildings. And so now we're going to go back to the beginning, as it were, to page 1 for executive.
Make a motion that we move the executive budget of $16,260.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Whitmore, if you want to speak to your motion.
So I'm going to defer to Karen on this.
So this budget is including the salaries, which is paid quarterly to the selectmen, individual members, and to the treasurer. Line 132, trustee of the trust funds, that is a flat fee, that is the management fee for the trust funds of $8,500. The 190 merit increases, that $400 is for longevity pay. We have 2 employees, one coming up on 5 years and one coming up on 20 years. So per policy, that is what their longevity pay would be granted for next year. So the total bottom line is $16,260.
Discussion on the budget. Anybody?
Yeah.
Mr. Rhodes?
I'm curious what I understand, well, I don't understand, I guess, exactly how the Cambridge gets paid, the trustee, not the trustee, but the
Trust management.
the trust management gets paid, whether, but why the variability? And why, when was it established? Because you'd think that it was 2005?
2005.
Yeah, so it was established in 2005, so you'd think that the 17 budget that we're working off of would reflect the default would be something other than $100.
So, if I may, I was a trustee of the trust funds when all the shenanigans went down. So when I was a trustee of the trust funds, there was $100, and going off memory, I think it was for clerical supplies needed in doing it. Before the current method, the 3 elected trustees of the trust funds did all of the investment work for all of the trust funds themselves. And Deerfield was blessed for a great many years, bless you, with some absolutely fantastic trustees of the trust fund that really knew how to invest those appropriately and take care of that. As time went on, the ability of the trustees to manage that, to do that, to have confidence in that, because you can't just invest this where you want it, right? There's fiduciary requirements. It has to be low-risk investments. There's a lot of rules. And we were having, I believe we were having trouble attracting new trustees. And that meant that all of that was falling on fewer and fewer people. And it's my opinion that the reason we're having trouble attracting trustees is because nobody had the skill set and didn't want to put their name on it. And so one of the trustees shopped it around to see what other solutions were available. And the one that was found the most palatable was to basically hire a firm that professionally manages these types of trust funds, to hire them to manage the trust funds, and basically the trustees sort of oversee it, sign off on paperwork, and do whatever's required to deposit funds, withdraw funds, make sure the withdrawals, are up to snuff, and all of that stuff. And so that was the change. So that's why it used to be $100. We live in the land of default budgets because we keep proposing budgets that are approximately 15% year-over-year increases, and the voters keep telling us they're not interested in that. And so that's where the fee is. Why the fee has a small amount of variability, that I can't answer, but that's sort of the long story short.
So let me ask a question about that. Did the change to the trust fund manager, professional manager occur after 2017?
I don't recall. My recollection is it was a warrant article to make the change. It required.
So it was some time ago.
So I moved here in 2009. I was a trustee for a few years. So it happened after 2009, but, you know, to be honest with you, time is more of a circle for me than linear, so I
I'm
don't.
not sure who the trustees were during the time when we passed the budget, so I don't know if it was just, it didn't get put in.
But it just never got put in as a
A fee.
budget line, so. this
No,
is-
it's been put in, it's been
But
put
it-
in
but
year
it
after
just-
year,
right,
but
it
because
just
you have a
didn't count.
default budget, it
No,
goes
but
back to the $100.
The
one year
default
it
budget
passed.
was in 2017. If the fund, if there'd been a line for the fund manager, 2016,
2017 would be 8 years ago versus moving into 2009. I would say it definitely occurred before, not
I'm
definitely.
sort of thinking it did. I don't know the facts.
I'm
That's why I'm asking.
99.9% sure.
So
it was
I'm wondering
before
why
that.
we don't have a line for the fund manager
Oh.
and why it's $100 instead of something that's a little more measurable and, you know, budgetable. But anyway, that's one question. The second question is, I would have thought that between 2024 and 2025, the fund appreciated, the funds generally speaking appreciated, and yet we have lower fees. So is this just brilliant trustee management of the
It's a
fees?
flat fee from Cambridge. They don't base it off of fluctuations of the funds.
Okay.
Like other trust companies will do.
Right.
We're getting quite a bargain with them. It's just a flat fee. I don't know what the 4818 is, the overage. It is a flat fee of 8,500 a month.
8,500 a year.
800 a year, sorry about that, and it is paid out quarterly, that's why you only see the spend of 65, 40 right now. Yeah,
So that's not dependent, that's not dependent on the volume, the amount of funds. So regardless of the amount of money in the, okay, that's helpful.
So a
Thank
more
you.
interesting question is, does the sum of the trust funds generate more revenue than what we pay in management fees?
yes,
It does. Okay, thank you for,
I can give you those details.
no,
I
no,
just don't
that,
have them.
no,
But yes, it
that's
certainly
fine. That,
does.
because that's been called into question
Yes.
for several years, and there's never really been a clear answer. And I will take your assurance on that. I don't need proof. Further discussion on the executive budget? Let me get back to my cheat sheet. So then, the vote is in favor of the executive budget in the amount of $16,260. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 10-0-0. That is going to move us on to town administration, which is on page 5.
I'll make a motion that we move the town administration budget of $346,521.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you. Mr. Whitmore?
So I will defer to Karen on this.
So this, the 110 line is for 3 full-time employees, the town administrator, the finance administrator, and a full-time administrative assistant. The full-time administrative assistant was previously budgeted for in the part-time employee line. So that line item was reduced to $1, and those budget dollars are reallocated to the 110 line. There is no overtime that is produced. If they work, if hourly employees are working more than 40 hours per week, then they will take compensatory time. The mileage is budgeted based off of mileage to attend training, to go to the registry, and to go to the bank once a week. Auditing services, we are required by statute to get our books audited once a year. So the increase for, the cost for the 2025 audit is increasing to $22,275. 50% of this is budgeted in the town clerk budget, and the other 50% is here. Legal notices is being increased to $1,500, so previously it was at $750, and then we're adding in funds that were reallocated from government buildings and GBW budgets. The telephone is a cellular stipend for 3 employees, $20 per month. Registry recordings, just miscellaneous recording fees. The contract line is the finance contract for reconciliation, so that's a third-party finance consultant that we hire through a private vendor. Maintenance vendors, that's MuniSmart and our copier maintenance. So that is reallocating some of the funds from the IT budget into this budget. Rentals and leases is the postage machine and copier. TA dues and subscriptions, that's for NHGFOA, which is the Finance Association, ANHPEHRA, which is an HR association, and then NHMA, no, not NHMA, it's New Hampshire Municipal Managers Association. Office supplies, 3,000. Postage is increasing. We took it out of other budgets and we reallocated 50% in town clerk tax and 50% here. The actuals in 2024 was $15,000 townwide. So that's what this adjustment is for. Miscellaneous, that's allocating costs for memorials, waters, nameplates, and training seminars, and then other charges and expenses is unanticipated breakdown of equipment or different personnel needs. Questions?
Mr. Rhodes?
So the 440 is just renting the machine, and 625 is what we actually use through that machine.
Correct.
Okay. And 690 is Inception?
690 is memorials, waters, and nameplates. Inception is in the planning budget.
Is in the planning budget? Okay, so this is, okay. Gotcha. I'm sorry, memorials,
Like flowers, like if someone passes and we send flowers to the family, that's where we pay for them.
gotcha.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Ms. Quinn, please.
So I'm fully in support of that budget line item, but I'm just curious why it's going up to 4,440?
Oh, that's also including the printing for the town reports. So that was the $3,500 that was pulled out of IT and put here for printing. Yeah, that's a lot of flowers.
Or a lot of dead, a lot of dead people.
So I have to wonder, right? So mileage, we brought it down, right? We cut it to 1/8, but we still don't seem to spend against it.
I haven't submitted anything for the trips that I've taken yet this year, and neither has the finance administrator.
Will there be costs submitted?
I will be submitting some, yes.
And does this include the town clerk's deposit runs or not?
It does not. She makes her own runs,
She
and
makes
she
her own.
budgets for mileage separately. So the finance administrator has a delegation of authority from the treasurer and makes deposits for the selectmen's deposits, which is the transfer station funds mostly. Planning board and ZBA fees.
It would be helpful probably to maybe do like quarterly mileage reimbursements instead of an annual. So when we're looking at,
Yep, I was doing a class session through NHMA, so I was waiting for the session to close, and so I could just submit one time instead of per class. And the finance administrator just recently started within probably the last 2 months doing the deposits himself.
Mr. Cresswell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The contract line, so, and maybe you had explained this already, but it shows the 2024 actual is considerably higher than what was budgeted for. And your spend this year so far is only 22.6. How does that break down? Is that a monthly charge, or is that a quarterly charge, or just one time?
So the finance consultant is generally a monthly charge, or it was previously. The 24 spend is much higher because that would have included Mr. Scruton as interim TA for Q4 of that year. And then in 25, it's a little bit lower because Mr. Scruton was only here for a short time during Q1. And then our new finance consultant, there was a gap of hiring there, and then we haven't been billed by the new consultant as of yet.
So the anticipation is going to be that it's
Yes.
35.
Yep.
And
Mr. Rhodes?
the new financial consultant is reconciling the entire ledger?
Yes.
Further discussion?
Can you,
Ms.
Mayor,
Marshall, please.
can you just explain, Karen, what's under other charges and expenses? Year to date, breakdown of equipment or personnel need is,
I think that seems to have been sort of, I don't know what is in actuals. That is what they had previously put in there.
Mr. Harrington used to explain that as his emergency fund.
Well, and I would think if there was not budgeted things like a printer, like a desktop printer, where it's not something that is in the IT budget or something that was specific to our offices that we needed, that is where we would allocate those funds.
Are you satisfied? I'm sorry, do you have a follow-up?
I do. I generally don't like other and kind of, and this is other charges and expenses. It's amalgamous if you've got equipment and personnel in one line. That's strange bedfellows, if you will. Given, can you speak to the 24 actual by any chance? It was 6,800 that year.
I don't, I wasn't here then, so I don't know what the spend would have, what that would have been for. I can look it up, but I don't know.
If we are properly budgeting our actual line items across the board, my feeling is that other charges and expenses just shouldn't be there.
I think some of the inconsistencies that you're seeing with how items are budgeted versus how they are spent is, it's ultimately the department head's responsibility to designate an expense account 9 and initial that invoice prior to submission to the finance administrator. It's not finance's responsibility to designate these expense lines. I think some of the inconsistencies is somebody is creating the budget versus who is actually managing the budget. And I think their notion of what should be in each line item was not the same. And I think that's why some of the spends are off. And I think that's why we're trying to correct some of those things between like government buildings, GBW, town hall. Those were the three biggest budgets where most of the money and line items were moved through the budget season this year. And I think that's a big of the reason why.
So you would anticipate then that that number, which is 67 spend in 24 and 21 and 39 would be, as they say in mathematics, approaching zero if you've successfully done the reallocation among other lines.
I would say, and if there's not an emergency expense that is appropriately fitting in another account line.
Well, you have to take that a step further, right? Because it goes to the point that she just made. If people are submitting invoices and they're having it credited against an inappropriate line, then you don't know. And I understand that there may be a disconnect between budget creators and budget managers, right? I create my budget, but they manage the budget, right? They submit the paperwork, et cetera. And it's not getting policed anywhere until somebody bothers to say, gee whiz, none of this lines up. And that's, it's hard because, I mean, I'll speak quite frankly, as an individual member, right? People are like, well, geez, we worked so hard on that budget. You didn't support the budget. And it's all this little stuff that slips through that ends up being a 15+% increase with lots of what looks like slosh and fuzz. It's hard to look people in the face that are struggling to pay their tax bill and say, yeah, this is good and tight. That's one of the challenges that the town has, and it's my opinion that if this was tight and done correctly, it would make it a lot easier for elected persons to recommend passage of the budget, and I think it would be a lot easier for the voters to swallow the increase because they would see a tight budget. Anybody that thumbs through this is gonna say, oh geez, you're over budgeting. Where's the overspend line? And you gotta look high and low. You don't find the overspend line. And except for highway, right? Poor highway, no, you don't see the overspend, but highway takes it on the chin for road maintenance, the one thing that our taxpayers have been telling us for years they want us to do. And, you know, we're gonna move through it. This is our process. We're not gonna change the process. It's not our job to oversee those things. But we're gonna end up at my gut tells me we're gonna end up at the same place in a couple of weeks that we do year after year after year. And unfortunately, I think we're gonna end up in the same place in March, but I'm pontificating.
Miss-
So we'll go to Ms. Marchioni first, then Mr. Rhodes.
So, Mr. Chairman, because the budget has really been looked at with such a fine-tooth comb and reallocations made this year to get expenses in the proper places, I'm going to make a motion to move that $5,000 proposed budget line to zero for 2026.
So we've got a motion to reduce line 813, other charges and expenses, from 5,000 down to zero, and it is seconded. That is an appropriate motion. And so you can speak to your motion if you'd like to speak further to it.
I think that what's gone in it to date, given that it's described as unanticipated breakdown of equipment and personnel need, and we have IT budgets, and we have supply budgets, and we have maintenance vendors taking care of equipment, we have properly allocated salary lines for employees. This seems an unnecessary cushion of expenses in a time when we're trying to run a very tight budget, and I think it's unnecessary.
Further discussion?
I would just follow that and say we also have miscellaneous, we also have equipment, computer copiers, so if there is a breakdown of equipment, that really should be under there and per department on where it's happening.
Right, there is an equipment line for computers and copiers.
Mr. Rhodes?
So, a couple of points. My observation, and it's a personal observation, obviously, is that there is a new sheriff in town, and the discipline is being brought to all these various lines, and it's being applied consistently. I don't disagree with your sentiment. I think I would be far more inclined to support it next year with a full year of experience with the new discipline and getting things into the proper lines. It's early yet, as they say in New Hampshire, in this, what I hope is a consistent application of discipline to the budget. And I do think a lot of the other lines are tight. The miscellaneous line you just had explained, that, that's not fluff, that's the printing is being moved around and so on and so forth. So the miscellaneous is pretty well accounted for, so there's no slop there. The other thing I would observe, two things I would observe. First of all, the comment that, you're over budget. Well, yeah, you're over 2017's budget, not an actual real-life budget that all of us are living. So, yes, there's overage, but it's overage against something that's unrealistic in today's world. And the second point, I guess, that I would make is that this is probably the only place I would want to see an expense, this kind of line, because it is in the town administrator's purview. And the town administrator is looking at a number of things across, that's where you would want any sort of gap. If this were occurring in every budget line, I would want to see it come out of the other budgets. But this is where, this is where the sort of the control is being exercised. So I think that's for a year, I think that's a modest number to see how it goes. That would be my sort of approach. I don't know what you think, Karen.
I think I would like to rename the 690 line the printing and reduce it to 3,500, and I think the 813 line makes more sense to be more of a miscellaneous. But I would request that the board not table you table the budget until I can pull more research to see what sort of expenses have been historically put in that line. I mean, that's a difference from 6,700 to 2,100. 2,100.
So what,
And I have no historical knowledge of what they would normally have put in those line items.
yeah, fair enough. So I guess, you know, what I'll say is when I'm staring down an over 15% year-on-year increase, and a $5,000 reduction on a $5 million budget is pretty small. Certainly not make or break. And if that 15% is not reduced somewhere, somehow, some way, this budget's doomed anyway. And so for that reason, I'm highly likely to vote for almost any motion to reduce lines in the budget, because at the end of the day, it's a bottom line budget. And so if there are other places to find the savings, then that's it. Is there further discussion on the motion on the floor? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote. So the motion is to remove $5,000 from line 813, other charges and expenses, to zero out that line. And I have a feeling this is going to be a split vote, so I'm going to ask for a show of hands. Those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand, leave them raised, just so I can get them counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is that correct? 6 in favor, opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is 10, so that there's no abstentions. And so that motion passes, and that brings our new bottom line to 341, 521. See how fast I did that math? When you make the numbers easy, I can do it quick. Further discussion on the town administrator budget. Ms. Quinn?
Mr. Chair, I'm just curious, this means we're ignoring the town administrator's request that this be tabled, so that she could, get more information for us?
So there was no tabling motion made. There was a motion made, asked for more, if there was more discussion. At that point, a tabling motion would have been appropriate, and it wasn't made, so the vote went through. That being said, there's nothing there's nothing I'm aware of that would prevent the town administrator from suggesting we receive information or if somebody wants to reconsider, well, somebody on the prevailing side reconsiders the vote to open it back up. That certainly could happen. We can reopen any budget basically up until we vote the bottom line. And even then, we sort of can, because then there's a public hearing, right? So if you want to reopen, you can do it then, and then it goes to deliberative and
But it would
deliberative.
only be someone who's on the prevailing side that could reopen it, correct?
Correct. Parliamentarily, yes. But typically, the committee's been pretty open to allowing the minority to express if there's new information. I'm not aware of any time we chose not to do that. I could be wrong, but I don't think we have. So that puts us back to the town administrator budget. Is there further discussion on, yes, Ms. O'Donnell?
I just have a quick question. It might be dumb, but this is for my education. Why do you have 2 that are negative numbers in books and periodicals and in meetings, seminars, and training?
Because there was refunds made.
Okay, so I was wondering if it's
And
something
applied to
like
that
that. Okay,
expense.
thanks.
So a very wise professor once informed me that the only stupid question is the question you don't ask. So never be afraid to ask a question. Ms. Quinn, did you have?
Yes, I was just wondering if now would be an appropriate time to move tabling this budget.
That motion would be in order. That would be a motion that's in order.
So I move that we table this budget until we get more information from the town administrator.
I'll second that.
So there's a motion and a second to table town admin. I just want to put a little arrow so I know the order of motions. Tabling is non-debatable. I think we all get the gist of it. That's where you have to be sneaky and sort of say it first and make the tabling motion. It's inappropriate, but we always let it slide. I'm going to go with a voice vote, and then if I'm unsure, we can do a show of hands. So all those in favor of tabling the town administrator budget, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
So that would be 92120. So the town administrator budget has also been tabled. It's going to be my intention that we would take these up under old business in future meetings, just so you know. We'll run through the agenda as published, and then under old business, we could, that way, if the meeting's running late, we can just push it another week, right? There's no sense fast tracking. That would bring us to I believe that brings us, personal administration, which is on page 32.
I'll make a motion that we move the personnel administration budget of $188,575.
Moved and seconded. Would you like to speak to your motion?
I'll defer to Karen.
Line 190, performance pay, that was a budgeted amount to allow the select board to consider wage adjustments if they were proposed, or to offer merit increases. So the department heads can present those to the select board for final approval. And FICA and MEDI are being adjusted based off of salary numbers that were proposed throughout the entire operating budget.
Yeah, so, any discussion?
I'm sorry,
Ms. Marchioni, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, Karen, can you just go over the performance pay again?
That is a line item to allow department heads to be able to propose either wage adjustments or merit increases for their staff to the select board for approval.
Further discussion? Ms. McHugh?
Is there, it's probably premature, warrant articles on COLA increases as well?
I believe there would be the intention to have a warrant article for a COLA.
Do we know?
So that question actually should probably go to the selectmen as well.
Yes, there was that discussion, yes.
Do we know what the COLA increase was set at, or maybe set at?
They haven't established it yet.
Proposed.
It will be proposed from.
No, it wouldn't be set. It would be a proposed amount. It's only set if the article passes.
Right, proposed amount. And my question, does that come from the state percentage? For the past 3 years, it's gone 5, 3.2, 2.5. I would assume the percentage would be.
I think those numbers that you're referencing is the social security numbers,
Yeah.
Historically, that's what was that.
but I would think that that would be reviewed plus the CPI, and the numbers would be compared.
Mr. Cresswell?
Karen, 63,000 is a considerable jump from what was proposed previously. And granted, I understand this, that's a default number that's continuing on, but where did that number come from?
Historically, the town has never offered any merit increases to any employee ever. And so this is based off of a 3% merit increase
Across the board for
eligibility.
everybody?
Yes. But it wouldn't be granted across the board. It would be on an individual case by case, but this is just to allocate it.
You could earn merit-based, you could earn up to 3%.
Yep.
On an annual increase based on your performance.
Correct. So there would still be a performance-based system with performance evaluations that would be done by department heads.
So I know Mr. Dillon has a question, but I want to dig down on that. So I understand that the 63,000 represents 3% of total municipal salary. But where is there a written policy that says a merit or a performance pay increase could not exceed 3%?
It's not, that was the select board's directive that it should be that they asked me to set it at 3%. And the personnel policy requires the select board to authorize those increases.
So just to chase that up, to close the loop. So it is actually completely legally conceivable that an employee could get a 10% raise, that there is no policy capping it at, the 3% was used to get the desired nut, but there's nothing that would prevent the select board from approving a salary increase of more than 3%.
Correct.
Thank you. Mr. Dillon?
Just a point of clarification, I guess. I have to respectfully disagree with Karen. This has been done in the past many times. The issue I had with it over time was there's a rush to make all these adjustments in December. So that way they could take the entire $63,000, but that ends up being over $700,000 the next year in the salary line.
So I will say, I will agree with at least the first 75% of what Mr. Dillon said, that we have certainly given pay increases to employees via the select board without a vote of the body. It's a bottom line budget. If, you know, all you have to have is $1 in salaries, right? You pay anybody and whatever you want to pay them. And we certainly have done that, and at various times, it's been a larger or smaller rub with taxpayers and voters, but I digress. Mr. Rhodes?
No, I was just wondering how you got from 63,000 to 700 and something
Sure,
thousand.
because they wait until December,
Right.
and they give them, and I'm not saying they were given these as just an example, they give them a $12,000 raise. They only have to cover 1 month of that out of this budget line. And that's what they would do.
Ms. Marchioni?
I believe that the town clerk indicated that she was including money for merit increases in her budget.
She did allocate some funds in her budget. yes.
Okay,
So
and I
we'll get to that
believe,
later and confirm that.
okay, and well, just in terms of merit pay never being paid, and I believe that the police department also, my understanding is raises have been given there as well, so I'm not,
So it's my understanding that it was never, that there was not that historically there was not a performance-based system in place. I think there's a mechanism in place where certain department heads come before the board and individually on a case-by-case have requested wage adjustments or different increases in the past. But it's never been tied to necessarily unilaterally on a performance-based system. I think the exception to that may be police because they do have a wage and step schedule that they follow, I believe, for the first 5 years of I think it's the first 5 that the officers are here.
okay, and is this codified in any kind of personnel manual?
The
HR
personnel policy,
documents?
the rate is
The
not, but the
merit
system
increases?
in how they have to go before the board is in the personnel policy, yes.
Okay, and all of those raises have to go before the Board of Selectmen?
Yep, and then they sign the personnel action request forms at meetings, and then those are filed in the personnel files.
Mr. Dillon?
And just one more clarification, my apologies, it's late, I'm tired. But these lines in the past were more like $6,000, not 63. So my example sounds a little wild, but, you know, you were talking probably a $1,200 raise, and you only had to cover $100 out of this line. And that's what they would do, is wait for the end of the year so that they could multiply the effect.
Now, if any raise that's given and approved by the board automatically gets rolled into the next year's proposed and default budget. Is that correct? It ends up in the default budget?
Salaries would.
Yeah. So I have to,
Salary- Sorry.
please, go ahead.
Salaries historically have been because it's been voted on as a separate warrant article.
No, I'm talking about a performance pay raise. If an employee or their manager applies for a salary adjustment and the select board votes to approve that salary adjustment, then that new salary line in the next budget would show up both in the default and the proposed.
Not in the default because it would not, unless it was a contractual obligation, but we don't have a union contract that would do that for most employees.
So if I give
So the-
an employee a 3% raise based on this performance pay,
Mm-hmm.
and the proposed budget does not pass, that employee loses that 3%?
No, it would likely get absorbed someplace else. So another cost would have to be removed in order to offset that.
Because you can't peel the employee's salary back.
I mean, legally you can, but if
Yeah,
you
no.
want to retain that employee, I think that's
For
not a great
sure.
idea.
For sure. Mr. Rhodes?
Yeah, so is there, I guess, this is the tip. I'm wondering what the iceberg looks like. You're talking about a merit-based, the idea of giving merit raises to retain employees, to, have some, I think we've had a little turnover in town, okay? So I understand the benefit of this, but I guess I'm not sure I see the bigger picture. Is there a plan? We've had a couple of questions about that, this evening. I mean, what, it needs to be, and historically in the past, I think the idea of a salary survey and all that stuff has been defeated by the town. So I guess I want to know what the bigger picture is in terms of where this is going.
I think this, I mean, the select board hasn't dove into a bigger plan. I think conceptually, I mean, I've been here and getting a handle on what all of the duties and responsibilities are. We're working on creating job descriptions that are representative of what employees are actually doing. And slowly, as we're having some turnover, we're reevaluating those positions and making sure that when they're filled, that they're filled at a competitive rate. I think it's also fair to, if you're going to bring in an employee at a competitive rate, that you look at comparable positions in town and making sure that their peers are being compensated at that same level. I think there's a lot of disparity between some of the staff positions, so I think it's sort of just working that, leveling it out.
And I think that's terrific. I would be a lot more supportive of this increase if it were in the context of a plan that's been developed for looking towards retention, looking towards, merit-based compensation, rather than being subject to a clever scheme. Or, I mean, in the past, people have been coming in and looking for, they've done their own homework, said, oh geez, these positions in other towns have this amount, so I'd like this raise, and the select board's been doing nothing.
Well, and I'm
but-
not in favor of that, right? I don't think employees should have to come to a public meeting and beg for more money.
No, I'm
I
not,
think-
but that's happened in the past.
So,
That's our
wait a
history.
minute, I want to interrupt. So that is a policy issue that
Yes.
actually resides with the select board. So that discussion, in my opinion, should be going to the select board representative, not the town administrator, because she executes on policy. She doesn't develop policy, at least not directly.
Luckily, the select board representative is here, so I would address it to you then. I mean, it'd be good to have a plan around this, rather than just saying 63,000 for a performance pay idea without a plan. We've had a lot of expenditures around ideas without plans, and I'd really think that would be more.
I can't read what, I've seen that, but I can't actually read what it says from here.
Cross this one off your list as the update.
That would be bad.
Oh, that's been going on for a long time.
Remind me tomorrow.
Is that the blue button?
Yes. It reminds me tomorrow.
Phew.
Thank you.
Mr. Dillon.
I'm not strictly against Errol's comments. I think that would be a nice tool for the selectmen to have. The problem that I've seen in the past is that it's taken on a life of its own. So I agree with him, there need to be rules around it.
So it's my understanding that the town has not been as diligent as it should with doing annual reviews of all the employees. And I don't know if that's true or not, but that is certainly something that I've heard. And if that's not true, then somebody should tell me that that's not true and reassure me.
Reviews were done in July. They were due July 1 for all of the department heads and for the staff in this building. PD runs they do theirs based off of anniversary date as opposed to
So
all at the same
has
time.
that been happening annually for the past X amount of years?
I don't know what happened this year.
So it's great because it shows we're moving in the right direction. I'm nervous because I've heard we've been delinquent in doing that.
And I understand this is a large lump sum of money, and I agree, there should be a plan, right? I think that needs to work hand in hand with a wage study that is done. I think job descriptions all need to be done. I think all of that stuff needs to be done at the same time with a good performance management plan. And if you have department heads that you trust that manage their employees responsibly, then this money would also be used responsibly.
So I agree 100% with what you've said, except I would like to see the legwork done first.
Sure.
The written policy. So understand that the way governance works is every year, there's an election, and even if the same people get reelected and there's no change in a board or a committee, it is legally considered a new board, a new committee. So any policy that is not formally enshrined in writing, right? If it's just to use a colloquialism, a gentleman's agreement that we shall do this and shall not do that, every time you have an election, all of that is scraped off the table unless it's re-agreed to, right? Because it creates a new board. That's why we elect a new chair to all the boards, all the committees. We elect all those new positions. And so I would prefer to see all of that legwork be done, to say, this is what it is, this is what it looks like, this is how it works. Give people time to review it, study it, make sure it's up to snuff and all of that. And then consider funding it. To fund this at the tune of $63,000 without those mechanisms clearly in place, I believe is putting the cart before the horse. And I get it. You have to pay a living wage. People deserve raises, but it has to be done correctly. And right now, I think we're bass backwards in this motion.
Mr. Chair, I thought she said that reviews were done in July. So there is a basis for a merit increase decision to be made.
But there's no good written policy that does it, that tells me that how that gets done. I don't.
The department heads go before the select board and request increases for their employees in their departments.
So this budget is, with respect, this budget is up 15%. I'm not sure that we've got our ducks in, the select board has their ducks in a row to have this in at this time. I don't think this is the opportune time. I'd like to see a budget that passes. And so for that reason, I'm going to make.
Chair, just as a point of clarification, it's 15% from a default budget that's 7 years old.
Yes, I understand that. And the default budget goes up year after year after year because it's adjusted for contractual obligations minus one-time spends. The town budget is not flat and it is not going down. It's not going up as much as some would like, but I'm not sure I'm ready to subscribe to crisis. If you don't want another default budget, then we need to have a lean, clean budget. For that reason, I'm going to make a motion that in personnel administration, line 190, we reduce that number by $60,000, leaving because they haven't been giving them for several years. That would leave $3,000 for them to work with. So that would allow them, if they do it at the end of the year, right, they could allocate a significant amount that then rolls in sort of what Mr. Dillon was explaining, that it's a good faith effort to try to pare down 15% and get things out of the budget that might stick in people's craw until it can be properly sold by the board.
Second.
So it's moved and seconded. I've basically said my piece, so I'll yield. Mr. Cresswell?
Again, thank you. So my understanding is that the town employees received a 3% COLA last year.
Yes, they received a COLA, yes.
And there's a budget, there's going to be a proposal for another COLA increase this year. Is that going to be through a warrant article?
I believe so, yes.
So we already have that 3% being budgeted or planned, proposed to be, that's not budgeted. We're proposing and planning that we're going to add that 3% in through a warrant article, which likely will pass because it passed last year.
Past last several years, several times.
So, to me, this $63,000 seems redundant because we're already doing that.
Many municipalities offer cost of living increases plus merit-based increases. So depending on their structure, so some municipalities are getting up to 5%. That may seem lofty, but their insurance costs are also increasing 15% this year, is the
So
projection.
we totally understand that, or at least I think we all understand that. The challenge is we keep doing the same thing year after year after year, and we keep getting the same result year after year after year. And I believe the majority of the committee is not satisfied with the result they're getting at the ballot box. And this is the type of thing that this year we could peel back to potentially give this budget a better chance to actually get over the finish line. So I'm sorry, if you'd like to continue, please.
I
did take a peek at the town clerk's budget. There is a proposal for a merit increase in there. You mentioned earlier about the police department with their step increases. Those step increases are planned and budgeted increases based on longevity. So what other positions would be affected by this?
It would be highway, your road agent, your transfer station employees,
Up here.
your building inspector, all of our administration,
That's less than 12 employees?
and your call firefighters, and your regular firefighters.
Okay,
So
the
basically
per
it's-
diem- the
so-
per diem firefighters would also be.
So basically, it is, the only people that are out of here is police and the 2 town clerk employees.
Ms.
That
McHugh,
was factored in.
are you good or no?
At the moment.
Ms. McHugh?
Yeah, I would just mention that we did just hire a new road agent, building inspector, and that has been revised. That salary was just appointed. So, yeah, I'm not sure where this would be allocated, especially where we have, like you said, town clerk, PD, fire. They're all presenting their own budgets and increases based off of what they feel their department needs, so.
Ms. Marshoni?
How many town employees do we have?
I don't know off the top of my head.
It's in the 20 range, isn't it? 20,
I would
21?
say in the 15 to 20 full-time.
15 to 20, and if we take, the police department has 9?
They have, yes, if you include their administrative assistant.
Okay, and town clerk has 3. So you're talking about 4 to
Not all full-time, though.
9
Not all full-
employees.
I think you're
maybe?
double counting.
Yeah, not all full-time.
And we need to take into consideration the 2% that are coming, 2% raises that the town clerk has put into her budget as well. You know, those wouldn't be allocated there likely, the merit increases, because they're doing them per department.
Right.
It would seem that perhaps the merit increases, which I think is a very valid thing to do. You want to incentivize people. I totally understand that and agree with that type of system. But it needs to be in one place or the other. So if you have some departments putting them in their budgets, other departments are not, so you've got a pot here to pay out of for some, it's a little inconsistent.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yeah, so
So
if
to be,
you,
to be clear, the comment, just one second, the comment should go to the select board member
apologies.
because it's the
Mr. Whitmore.
policy of the select board, not the town administrator. Mr. Rhodes?
so, yeah, if you went back in time and enjoyed the select board meeting that evening where this was brought up,
It was a long meeting.
it was a very long meeting, and there was, the debate was department versus should we do it for everybody, you know, so my concern here is, and it's been said here before that we face a budget crisis. We don't face a budget crisis, we face a planning crisis. And if this is the kind of thing that if you don't plan for it, I'm all in favor of merit increases to be able to handle things like the increase in insurance costs. As a paper just came out from, I believe, a nonpartisan group that said New Hampshire families are $17,000 worse off per family now than they were 10 years ago. I mean, it's not, we got to do something to help these people, but doing it helter-skelter without a plan, without a discipline to it is wackadoodle. And I don't think we're in the business of being wackadoodle. I think we need to help the town plan, or help the town in getting itself to a place where it does plan and have, we're doing it on the planning board, we're doing it in heritage, we're doing it in conservation. I think the select board ought to take that up and run with it, and because people will help you if you plan. I think people will, support you if you have a plan and they know how their money is going to be spent, whether that's, in a budget or through warrant articles, as Chair has often argued for. I don't think it really, that's not my game. My game is you got to plan this stuff and have people understand where their money's going. And so that's why I, encourage a plan built around this that, you know, I don't know if $3,000 is going to be more insulting than encouraging, but I get the point, and I'm supportive of the theory of that. If I were to make the motion, I would have probably left something like 10,000 in there, knock it off by 50, so that there's a hope of, and I'm assuming the town clerk retains her, you know, I mean, she's the one who brought it up, bless her soul. I think it's terrific that she brought that idea up and is really making it available at some level to other employees. But you got to do it with a plan.
Well, and it
You gotta
has to
do it
be-
with discipline.
So let me just say, I've been jotting down numbers, so I didn't start at minus 60. I started at a smaller number. And the challenge I have is they've had this money. They've had this money for years, and they haven't allocated a penny of it. And so to go from, I haven't allocated any in years, from a $4,700 pot, that now all of a sudden I want to magically go to 63,000, for me is a huge step. So no, I'm not in favor of that. The other thing is, I'm not sure I understand what the default budget implication of this is, because I see two different values, one for 24 and one for 25, that are different. So that tells me, even in a default budget, that number is sloshing around. And we haven't seen the default budget yet. I don't know when we'll see the default budget, which makes this a bit of a game of crystal ball, because I don't know what the other half is. And so for that reason, I'm more than happy at the minus 60,000, leave them $3,000 that they haven't been spending anyway, and let them get their ducks in a row, let them get their procedures and policies written so people can do a thorough analysis, and then maybe come back with a $63,000 increase. Mr. Dillon, did you have your hand raised?
Yeah, just to comment that this was one of my issues when this was done in the past, that we ended up with these merit increase pools all over the place. They were in the department level, they were at the selectmen's level. I feel the same way. I just want to see some rules around it. And so we can all understand when people get raises from it and why they get raises from it.
So to your point, Mr. Chairman, I would say that, well, cutting them back by whatever, by 30%, I would, if I were making the proposal, I would say, give them 5,000, give them 1 year, and if they can't figure out how to do it in 1 year, then, you know, SOL.
I get it, but I'll reiterate that they've had
They haven't spent it.
45, they've had 47, they haven't used a penny of it.
You're
So-
making my point
so-
that there's
so-
a planning crisis.
So let's give them $3,000 and see if they do anything, please.
Mr. Rhodes, you started at 10 and then you knocked it down to 5. Come on.
Well, you know,
But besides that, I think that they have offered increases, but I think once they have been approved, then the spend is showing in the actual budget where they are spent and not reallocated back to that line.
Okay, so we don't know what the actual spends are.
I think that's why it's a
Yes.
zero.
And we need to limit the discussion to the motion, please.
Is there a, I think the best word for this, what guarantees a merit increase for an employee?
That would go to the select board member, not the town administrator.
So what guarantees a merit increase for an employee?
Well, the supervisor has to make a case for them. And I've never seen it, no one's ever come before us that I've actually seen it occur since I've, been on the board, but they make the case and with the recommendation of the percentage increase.
Is there an itemized, detailed list of requirements or accomplishments for that award to be awarded?
I have not seen that, no.
Mr. Rhodes?
Anecdotally, I can tell you, I've sat through a lot of select board meetings, and I've seen merit raises requested. I don't think I've seen, I don't know what's been in the board packet, but there hasn't been anything argued from the floor. And it's been, well, they do this in this town, they do this in this town. I gotta, we've gotta stay even.
But that's not a merit.
Well, but that's,
wage adjustment.
that's how personnel action requests have played out in reality over the last 5 years that I've been coming to these select board meetings.
Well, and
So, I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying anecdotally, that's what I've observed.
a select board is allowed to go into non-public session for compensation of an employee, so a lot of those discussions may have been happening in non-public.
Could well have been.
That's
But
very
again-
possible,
but
that doesn't
again-
explain how they come up with awarding that number.
They don't, because they're not spending against the line.
But that's a different,
She's just saying
you're not spending against the line,
allocated separately.
that's just not counting for that line.
I'm not.
My question is how they arrive at awarding an employee the max of their merit based on the minimum of
I,
their merit.
I understand your point,
I
100%
can
agree with
tell
you.
by, being a union employee, we have a contract. Our contract outlines what requirements we have to reach or parameters we have to reach in order to earn a merit increase. And I can tell you when we had a merit increase, it was very biased on our supervisors on who got what. And some employees got 1%, some employees got 5%. And for the most part, you had to save a baby from a burning building to get 5%. It was, nobody ever got the max because the supervisors didn't want to be held accountable for making that decision. Which is besides the point in this, but at least we had a set standard of goals to say, reach this goal, reach this goal, reach this goal before we said, yes, you earned that merit increase, because that's what merit is, you're earning an increase. And I don't, I can't agree with aligning that type of money for something that's not defined. Back to having a plan.
Ms. Messier?
As Josh just said, without a plan, it's a very slippery slope. And it is based on, okay, well, I think I'll give it to you, but I don't think I will give it to you. So there does need to be a written plan in place. I've looked through here and I see that there is also a merit built into like the library employees too.
Yes.
So there are already people that have it built into their department budgets. And I think an overall, without a structured plan as to how to meet these goals for merit it's a crapshoot.
It has to be defined. You have,
So-
there has to be a definition of what qualifies you for reaching that merit.
Agreed. So I think I'm hearing, a couple of things. One, it sounds like most of us are agreeing that the cart's a little bit before the horse in this amount of money without the groundwork. And the other thing I'm hearing is that, we keep hearing from the select board that we're gonna get this consistency in budgeting, but we've got merit pays peppered all out throughout different departments, and then we also have this one big nut. And to me, it is the phone bill. And for that reason, I am gonna stick with my motion, and I'm gonna hope to get support. Mr. Rhodes?
It's simple. Get a plan.
Go
I
ahead.
think what people are saying here, get a plan.
So I'm gonna call the vote. I'm just gonna do it by a show of hands. So all in favor of reducing personnel administration line item 190, performance pay from $63,000 down to $3,000. All in favor, show of hands, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Opposed? 1, shocking.
Good job, Greg.
And so what?
Saying well done to.
Oh, I thought you said hold on.
Representative from the select.
I'm sorry. So that brings us to 128,575. See, look at that, lightning fast math, a second time in around, the beauty around numbers. Blind pig finds apple, feel good story of the year. So shall we move the personnel admin bottom line, or is there further discussion?
So moved. Can I do that?
Well, no, it's just, well, I'm going to call the vote. So if there's no further discussion, the motion is personnel administration bottom line now at $128,575. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. I'm going to assume that's a 9 to, no, any abstentions? I'm going to say that's a 9 to 1 to 0. If I got my math wrong, please correct me. That takes care of personnel, administration, tax anticipation note doesn't show up. And so this would send us back to last week's,
Right,
Yeah,
because
patriotic purposes.
oh,
that's Memorial Day.
that's
That's old-
Memorial Day,
that's
it got
old business.
renamed, it got renamed, that's,
Well, it's-
I was,
Did that last week.
We dealt with that
Well,
last
it's
week,
gonna
yeah.
be old business.
Patriotic
'cause
We
talked
only
about it.
technically
Last
voted
week.
on one.
Coverage, yeah, I think.
We,
so I thought I had a cheat sheet that told me which ones have to be reconsidered. And,
I wrote them
I
down.
have the previous agenda with us.
yeah, how come, I could have sworn I wrote that down, it's kind of odd on me, I don't have that, though.
It's from the agenda here.
All right, awesome. Can I see the one with the page numbers up? If you don't mind, I'll cheat along.
Yeah, we don't have them for all of them.
Oh, so, all right, so MBC, let's take MBC, page 24. Which one? No, that doesn't show up. I think that's only if there's a problem. Thank you. So, Municipal Budget Committee on page 24, seeing as how that's our budget, I'll spare the select board member from having to do it. Well, you guys already did it, right? What did you add?
1475.
You
by-
added-
By increasing the line 111 to $1,200, I believe.
1,400.
1475. Oh, no,
No,
sorry,
no,
1400.
that-
Correct,
that-
correct.
Was it 1,400?
Yes.
1,400.
Okay,
The
1,400.
1475 is the bottom. Total.
Oh, that's right, 1470. So 1,400 for the part-time employee, so it's 1475 for the whole thing.
Okay, so I will move the Municipal Budget Committee bottom line budget at $1,475.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Praise be. MBC at 1475. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 10 to 0. 10 to, thank you so much. So that's MBC. Debt services, 144. Let's jump around, let's go wild.
Excuse me. This is the town's proposal, right? So, I'm just
My
thinking.
bad, sorry.
Yeah, I'm thinking it should actually be a
right.
9-1 vote, only
sorry.
because we've increased it. And,
I have to,
So I've never believed that nonsense story. I believe if we make common sense changes, I can't believe, but if you want, I'll be more than happy to change that to a 9 to 1 to 0. Page 144, and tax anticipation note,
Seem to be there.
it's there, page 144.
yes. If I recall correctly,
Well, hold on, we need a motion.
so, motion to move the tax anticipation note budget of $1.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? So does that, show of hands, does everybody understand what this is for?
we actually discussed it, and the town administrator reminded us that they not only have a line of credit with their existing bank, but they also have another bank that also offers lines of credit. So if we need a liquidity facility, that this would be the line through which that would either would
Okay.
come in and then.
So all in favor at $1?
Aye.
Opposed? 10 to 0 to 0. You probably didn't hear me, but I said aye. Memorial Day at 1:32. Yeah, patriotic purposes, memorial, yeah, so I'm sorry, so this is gonna be patriotic purposes.
So I make the motion, we move the patriotic purposes budget of $600.
Second.
Moved and seconded, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Staying 0, 0, 0. Legal on 29.
In case you have other patriotic purposes, we could add that to
Where am I? 27.
Yeah.
No, 29. No wonder I'm askew.
Not there yet.
Yep.
All right. Make a motion, we move the legal budget $43,572.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Mr. Cresswell?
So I think I've made this motion in the past.
You have.
If I haven't, but we haven't spent close to this amount in the last 2 years, based on the current spend, the actual spend for '24 and the current spend for '25. I would like to make a motion to reduce this to 25,000.
So so 25,000 for a bottom line. I can do the math, what the subtraction is later. It's not even that critical. So that's down to 25,000. You may speak to your motion, even though you sort of already did. Oh, second. Is there a second?
Second.
A second. Okay, sorry.
We haven't spent it. And I think we have other legal funds currently through the municipal association and from other sources that they do draw on for free legal advice. So we've kept a padded budget through the default, but we haven't spent that money. So it kind of seems irresponsible to keep it at that line.
Yeah, I've been doing this for like a dozen years, and we've never even come close to it. Mr. Rhodes?
I think what makes this year different is that there are actual pending legal issues that are anticipated to actually cost money.
I think we've had legal issues.
No, these are actions that have been started that are going to continue that will need to be funded. Am I wrong, Karen?
No, there's code enforcement issues that we're working through right now.
One of the good news there is that we actually have a code enforcement officer who is enforcing the code, which we haven't had, we've had with differing degrees of efficiency in the past. But I know of at least 2 cases, and there may be more, where
Are we anticipating that those costs are going to exceed $30,000?
I wouldn't be surprised.
This year?
Now, they may be reimbursed.
You're
Okay.
always one lawsuit away from it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, so, Ms. Marchioni?
I just wanted to note that there's also $5,000 available in the planning board budget for legal fees and $500, not that that's a lot, available in the ZBA budget.
Ms. McHugh, did you want to weigh in?
My only question was, do we anticipate more on this line this year? And do we have any idea of what that will run us next year?
We will anticipate more expenses this year of working with council on a few different cases. But their cost is like $3.95 an hour. So it doesn't take long to get through that amount of money.
Yeah, no matter what, the lawyers get paid. So the only thing I'll say is we haven't come close. Sometimes legal fees do get paid back by the losing party. And I'm going to assume that the town has confidence they're going to be on the winning side of any fight they start. It's over 15% increase. If you want a proposed budget to pass, you got to find money to cut somewhere. And I tend to agree with Mr. Cresswell. This is probably a good place, and I plan to vote in favor of the reduction. Is there further discussion?
I guess if you want to have plans and you want to have plans stick, you're going to have a stick to enforce them with. So just knowing of the actions that are out there right now, I would hate to hamstring those actions that are being taken, which have other reverberations. I would just leave it at that. But I think
I find it almost inconceivable. The municipality, if they believe that they were right and were going to win in court, would not pursue a legal case just because there was a few $1,000s less than what they wanted in a budget. It's a bottom line budget. doesn't prevent them from spending over 25,000. It simply starts to get the bottom line to a place that may or may not be palatable. Otherwise, otherwise they're going to win anyway. They're going to get 43,000 in default, so.
One other question, I think we put $1 into the postage line. I don't know, last discussion, were you aware of that or not?
So
Or
any,
in legal- on the legal line, I just have a note in my,
anything the select board has done since they handed this budget to us is a recommendation, essentially a recommendation to the MBC.
I understand that, I just, my notes show $1 there, and I'm wondering, I'm trying to get recollection of what happened at the last meeting to put that
Yeah,
$1 there.
but that's not, it's not germane to the legal budget, so now's not the
It's in the
time for
legal,
this.
it's actually in,
I think you're on reevaluation of
I'm sorry,
property.
am I screwing up again?
Yes,
I didn't want to call you
so
out,
it's
but I
not
think you
germane,
are.
and it's not germane to the motion.
I'm gonna,
Not germane to
I'll
the
go
motion.
with that then.
All right,
I do understand that there are potentials for having higher expenses. That's why I'm suggesting we move from 25 and up to 50.
all right, all in favor of reducing the legal bottom line from 43,572 down to $25,000? Show of hands, all in favor, raise your hand. Leave them raised, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those opposed, raise your hand, leave them raised. 1, 2, 3, 4. The motion passes, and so the new bottom line is $25,000. All in favor of the new legal bottom line, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, in favor, show of hands, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm shocked. I'm going to guess there's 4.
No, Crestwell was included.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, all right.
stuck it in it.
So it's 7?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you had counted it.
Opposed?
Then it's 7.
How many are opposed? That'll tell us. What, are you opposed or not opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, so it's still 6,
It's
4.
6-4.
And then last, but certainly not least, everybody's favorite, revaluation of property, doom and gloom, the sky is falling, because I don't understand how tax rates are set. No, I'm just being a pain in the ass, pardon my French. So I would look for a motion on revaluation of property. I'm sorry, 26.
All right, make the motion to move the reevaluation of property budget $83,022.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on revaluation of property? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 10-0-0. So that concludes our budget sections for tonight. This brings us to old business, and I drew an arrow, because apparently, no, the old business was the stuff we just did. Is there any other old business? Is there any new business? Is there any other business? No, it's old or new. There's no other, and there's no monkey either. Please, Ms. Marchion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I had a question. I just wanted to touch base on the town expenditures to date, the most recent report being October 10th, 2025. Is that right? No. October 17th, 2025. I just wanted to ask for clarification, the road construction warrant article out of a $500,000 budget still has $209,000 available. Is that non-lapsing?
It's not lapsing for one more year.
It's non-lapsing. And are we at,
That will be spent because we still have to do the culvert repair on Ridge.
all right. And the tree removal, same, is that non-lapsing? And is that 33 going to be spent?
That is, I believe that is lapsing, and
And I'm gonna try to spend it.
I think the road agent will try to spend it also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we anticipate that that will be spent. The voting machine still shows 10,000 available?
Yep, that needs to be purchased this year.
Okay, and it will be?
Yes.
All right, and
And there'll be another warrant article for the second machine in '26.
And who did we decide to go with on the machine?
I don't believe that they've made a decision. I'm expecting the moderator to attend a select board meeting with his recommendation and proposal for the board.
I thought that they had formed an ad hoc committee to discuss and advise which of the two machines to select from, but I haven't heard anything on that in months and months and months.
I thought Kelly had said at a meeting that they had chosen.
She had a recommendation, but I think the Secretary of State's office actually withdrew their recommendations at one point, and they were waiting for them to come back and say what to, they have to certify the machines that we get to choose. And so I think that was the last holdup that I'd heard.
I think there's two machine options. I think it's Voting Works and Dominion is the other. And I think,
There was some sort of holdup on, yeah.
On Dominion,
Okay.
shocking.
They just got bought out.
Oh,
They were still in legality.
Okay.
Yeah, and more than just buyout legality. Dominion is an interesting company, shall we say. Is anything else?
Yes, can I just ask on the expenditures, are there any other lines that are needing to be pulled from to cover expenses to get through the rest of the year? And do we have any surprises that you know of? Or are you still comfortable that you'll get to the end of the year?
probably there are still lines that will need to be pulled from. I don't anticipate any surprises right now,
Okay.
with 6 more weeks left.
I'm reminded of the Russian proverb, if I knew where I was going to fall, I'd put a pillow there.
Well, and you just don't say it out loud, because then bad stuff happens.
So I know everyone's itching
I'm
to
so
get,
tired.
everyone's itching to get out of here. Perhaps for next week, could you let us know what other lines you plan on pulling money from to get us to the end of the year?
I can try. That is not how the budget was crafted, but
Yeah.
I can try, yes.
Okay.
I have budget projections on where we're going, and that will get there.
Okay.
Anything else?
The SAU, on the school, the SAU meeting is tomorrow for the full board meeting, voting. I don't know if anyone is planning on going, but, yeah, that's all.
And I don't know if you care, but the RSA 227C is what deals with restoration and maintenance on historical buildings. That's-
227.
It has all the definitions in there.
Yeah, we just have to make sure it's backwards germane to an operating
It's,
budget.
it's historical. So you mean-
Yes.
Because it's in an operating budget where the word is being used. So
Well,
I get that's a
It said
section.
New Hampshire doesn't have
So I am-
anything that's like a definite definition that's across the board.
Did I hear a
This is
motion
what
to
it is
No,
in this area.
hold on, 1 second. So, so she gave us a citation. I would encourage anybody and everybody that wants to put $1 into that restoration, do your homework, come ready to, come loaded for bear, ready to defend that, and maybe you'll get your way, right? So just, put-
RSA,
Can we get
RSA
that?
227C.
so there may be other
you.
RSAs, so make sure you do due diligence.
227C, it deals with historical buildings.
So, public comments, I don't see any members of the, one other thing. So if you're paying attention to my agendas, you will see that if we stay on schedule, we will finish the town budget early. If we finish the town budget early, and that's at the very least, the Saturday meeting would then go away, the potential Saturday meeting. We'll see. We're going to have other long nights. There's some big departments coming in. So if we choose to push something out, we do have a little bit of a cushion. So the time gun is not against our head, as they say, but we certainly want to be diligent. And at this time, I would look for a motion.
to adjourn.
Second.
Move to say it. All in favor? Opposed?